Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho and we are live on YouTube Wednesday, June 3rd, 9:05 p.m. Time for some best ball drafts. We're going to hop into some puppies tonight. I think I only have time for two. A little tired and definitely doing more than one, but I think we're only going to do two tonight. So if you want to hop in, I'll give you a countdown and let us begin. All right, here we are on Underdog. A reminder, if you're new to Underdog, if you're interested in joining, if you would like to sign up and get some extra bonus funds, promo code BLUNT, link is in the description. You get 50 extra dollars in bonus entries after you play your first 5. This puppy contest is perfect for that. You can play one puppy, get 10 for free. Promo code BLUNT in the description down below. Your first deposit will also be matched by 50%, up to $1,000. All right, so we're going to hop into the puppy. I think odds are y'all know the details of this contest. A little difficult to advance, but if you make it to week 16, 1 out of 5 is pretty sweet. 750 people in the final, though. Still got to strategize with week 17 in mind. But if we make it there, we guarantee a minimum of 400 bucks. We are shooting, though, for 100K. So let's hop in. I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown. And tonight's delay is a total of 5 seconds. We get a 5-second delay tonight. So do with that information what you will. I will be joining the puppy in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Pretty much insta-filled. I think giving you guys all the information on the delay and all the 10-second countdown especially, I think that definitely helps us. So let's take a look who made it in here. We got I'm not sure about the first two picks, not sure about Big B or Jake, but Peyton the Legend Manning, welcome brother. Thanks for joining us tonight. Not sure about Chris Dez or Black Chili at the 405 and 4 and 5th pick, but Jackson Duffy, welcome in here. John Tara in at the 6. Jedi Niner right next to me. UCF Jaguar at the 10. Cheers, brother. And then Soupso in here as well. Not totally sure on Ghost Rhino, but I feel like at least 7 or 8 of us are definitely in the blunt rotation. But let's take a look at the chat. We got Whohames dropping in. What's up, fam? A nice little family soup, says the the translator. Thanks for joining us. Superflex or Peppertoni Riots? Maybe we will do a Superflex on draft 2, but at the moment, Peppertoni is not fimped yet. So as far as I know, we have not let Peppertoni down yet. He is unaware as of this moment. But hello, Hallie Line. How we doing? Looks like maybe you didn't get in. Maybe you weren't trying to, but hope to catch you on the next one. John Tara going in at 6 exactly always works for me. Yeah, the countdown, once you know how to play it, you can usually get in. Sometimes you're just a little too early though, on occasion, but don't snipe me. I mean, I'm a little more worried about you sniping me on the long turn here, but at 16 every time we're coming up on the odd rounds, maybe I will. You never know. What up, UCF? Hope you're doing very nice on this Wednesday. Jackson says, happy to get in, but if you're in a rush or tired, don't worry about a review. I think we can definitely, given the reviews, I think I can do 2 complete drafts. I think we'll also keep that in mind. But a reminder, if you're a YouTube member, you get priority. You do get all of your teams reviewed. If you're not a member, then you likely only get one review on the night, given you're in multiple drafts. If that's the case, I think that's how we're going about it. But sure, don't have a ton of them too often. It's been a minute since we've taken him. I'll just go CeeDee Lamb. Not bad, not a bad pick, but there's a world where Jefferson's slightly better, and then maybe you just want a running back. Maybe that's the move. But elite wide receiver points are hard to replicate, and there are very few receivers with the outcome possible that is looming for CeeDee Lamb. So the Giants matchup, week 17, at home, no weather to worry about. Those games are usually shootouts in division. Maybe the John Harbaugh Giants defense will be better this year, but I'm willing to believe in CeeDee Lamb at about 8%. Not going to be overweight CeeDee Lamb, but don't want to fall behind. Don't want to ignore him too often. But here, I am legitimately torn between Ken Walker and Derrick Henry, but today we're going to go Derrick Henry, probably, other than Hampton, probably my favorite pick in the second. But I do like Walker as well. I still mix in Walker, but I think my true, honest, heart of heart rankings, we got Henry one spot above Ken Walker typically, but might be in for the next one. Good luck hopping in. What's up, Green Bean? How we doing? Hope you're having a good Wednesday. GM to Breaking Best Ball. What does GM even stand for? Because it's definitely not good morning. And I've learned a few weeks ago that it's definitely not good morning, but I don't feel like no one's ever told me what it actually means. Pack one up and cheers, sir. You know what, bass fishing? Let's light it for you. Let's do it. You got it. Sure. Yeah. Just for the sake of being literal, I suppose. But I feel like it stands for something. I feel like there's something else. Maybe it's like the chess term. Like everyone's trying to be a GM in chess, a grandmaster. Maybe that's what it stands for. Probably not. I don't think I qualify as a grandmaster of best ball. Need more than a 151st finish in week 17, perhaps. I have cracked the final. I had multiple final teams last year, but not enough winnings to really gloat about it. Bonne soirée, Jamie. Hope you're doing well. And speaking of Jamie, yeah, this is what I intended, and you're always a nice reminder. Let's bring it in. The music is here this evening. I'm also going to put this a little bit lower. I debate on where to put the chat sometimes, but that's probably good. And I think we can also make this bigger. Yeah. I think that's the move. Up top, you still have the picks coming off the board. You have the team name, but at least I'm not blocking any of the board. I think that's the view I like best. There we go. Yeah, that looks clean. Okay. Got a new badge today, and here's Smoke Along. Which badge did you get, Green Bean? Which badge did you acquire? Did you hit 2K? Or where are you sitting at? Oh, shit, I'm on the clock. Good thing we're not taking neighbors. Let's go with the Bengals-Ravens matchup. Let's go T. Higgins today alongside Derrick Henry. You could take Zay Flowers. You could really commit, but then somebody sees it, says, not today, son. Snags Lamar Jackson unstacked. So not going to advertise it. Maybe it comes back to me, but not going to force it. I'm not totally convinced that Zay Flowers is deserving to, like, clearly, undoubtedly move into the third round. I like him in the fourth. I like him in the fourth. Early fourth is fine. Clearly third round. Turn dynamics always play a factor. Who can you bring up and still get back on the other way around? So sometimes that kind of expedites the player ADP sometimes. Around the turn, you can move quickly. So if Flowers was there at 40 right here, I definitely take him, but he's not. And I think I'm going to go Anchor RB today. I think we're going to try and lean in on Hero and mix in Egbuka. But in all honesty, I don't really love his matchup too much. I will take Egbuka, though. He's been moving into the third at times. It seems like he's all over the place right now. Sometimes people really take him early, and then I've also seen him fall into the mid-40s. But I've always been in on Egbuka. I thought maybe after the draft his stock would fall a little bit, but with Bucky Irving sliding, maybe they're a bit more of a pass-first team, and maybe trusting, who was operating as their number one receiver last year to just maintain that role overwhelmingly. He had top 5 upside on a week-to-week basis. He was really killing it early in the season. So I like Egbuka. Definitely liked him last year. I'll take him here just because I think he's definitely in the 4th round. I will say, though, the Myles Garrett trade makes all of the Bucks a little less enticing when you factor in week 17. But that game could also be a big shootout. So Bucks hosting the Rams week 17 is our matchup. Trent McDuffie and Myles Garrett. Those additions pose a problem. Will Egbuka be able to overcome Trent McDuffie is the question. Possibly not. Maybe he's not going to be a great play in week 17, but it's also possible that he's really good the entire season and he helps get me there. And given my lineup, I'm not really counting on him necessarily as wide receiver 3 to always hit the lineup. Maybe one of my later picks does slide in much better, but also not going to project too much and overreact to week 17 matchups. It's still only June. I think it's just good morning. It's something everyone that watches Davis or Liam says. Yeah, it's the typical. Think GM stands for General Manager. Stands for Michael Scott, apparently. Number 7, like Fantasy Dog, appreciate you. We got now 28 watching, 8 likes. If y'all are enjoying the content, you can hit the like button, but it's still early. It's still early. We're not gonna force anything. It's still early. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing, Chad? Thank you for hopping in once again. John Tara was hoping to stack Rashi and Walker, but alas, Rashi did go to Black Chili. Badge, I said bag. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha, Green Bean. I guess that is the more recent change. And I guess maybe my dyslexia kicked in. I'm not really dyslexic, but occasionally I do skim in the chat when I'm like pressed for time. I still don't have a badge yet. Only really my 2nd season. Gotcha. Yeah, I only got... Honestly, I feel like I got my black badge at the very beginning of last year, and then around like mid-July, I hit the red badge. Something like that. It wasn't... happened a bit later. Now, I could take Bucky. I could definitely take Bucky, but I think I'm gonna go Quinchon. Get back in at running back. I'll take Quinchon. Not gonna overcommit to the Bucks just because I have Egbuka. If anything, if Egbuka crushes in week 17, it's much less likely that Bucky is going to go off as well. So the double stack, not critical, especially when Bucky's been moving down the board. No worries, Game Tight. I'm sure you'll probably be in the next one, but thank you for smashing that like button. Appreciate it. Game Master, Grandmaster, General Motors. Yeah, it's clearly General Motors and genetically modified. That's GMO. We steer clear of those at the grocery store. At least I do. No, it's definitely General Motors. That 100% makes the most sense. Logically speaking, there's nothing else that could even qualify. I just can't quit. I just can't quit Brian Thomas. We're gonna go BTJ as our wide receiver 4. Let's have a really talented receiver room. And like I was saying, maybe Egbuka gets me there, but just doesn't quite deliver. You know what matchup I do love? The Washington Commanders. The Jaguars could light up the Washington Commanders in the passing game. That's also an opponent that can keep up with them in theory. There is a world where that game is a huge shootout. That is a game I actually really like. It's also on Monday night. The final game of the best ball slate is BTJ and the Jaguars hosting the Washington Commanders. To have a sweat in week 17, Monday Night Football, even if you fucking lose, like to go into that final matchup and be like, yo, if I just get 25 points out of BTJ tonight, I am winning $2 million. Yo, that would be really, really fun. A lot of adrenaline for that sweat. So I like the primetime spot of the Jags at home against Washington. It's a Florida game, so it is outdoors, January, but I'm not going to fret too much about it. And last year, we had some of the best fantasy matchups of the season against the Washington Commanders. You know when Sam Darnold fucking crushed and lit up, had one of his best fantasy games of the season? It wasn't just the Bucks game. It was also the Commander game. And that's when Torrey Horton caught 2 touchdowns. T2 has Team 2 with a 4 RB start. Not in this one, bro. Not quite sure what you're talking about. There is Team 11. Supso in here did 4 RBs with James Cook, Chase Brown, Javonte, Josh Jacobs. As long as he stops, I think he can get away with it. But you don't see me doing that too much. The Josh Jacobs bet on a 4 running back team. Very, very interesting. Probably not a wasted pick ultimately. So maybe he takes 5. Maybe he stops there. If you do take a 5th, I would recommend waiting until like at least round 15. Someone like Tank Bigsby, a true handcuff, someone like that. Get money. You know what? That's pretty good. Gray Moose, Garbage Magnet. These are Get Money probably fits the best. You know what? That's what it's going to mean on this channel. GM, get money, get money. Not even get money, fuck bitches, or fuck bitches, get money. It's just strictly get money, get money. Back on the clock. Don't take him too often, but I'm pretty sure the Javonte team's on that side, so let's set it up. I will get in at quarterback here. I'll go Dak Prescott. Herbert's off the board. John Tara took him with Ladd, so don't even have the option of telling myself I'm passing on the better player. We're just going to get our CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stack, and move on from round 7. There's a lot of landmines in round 7. I think you can hit a lot of errors in the 7th round, honestly. But Harvey comes off the board, and that means my boy, my man, Rico Dowdle is still here. The question is, do I take Rico or do I take Trevor Lawrence? Because I know there's no way I get him back. I'm going to go with RB3. We only have Henry and Quinshon. Give me a running back 3. I feel good about. I think Rico is more valuable than Harvey, who went above him. I think he's equally, if not slightly higher ceiling, potentially more valuable than Tony Pollard. But at the moment, Pollard has a higher floor, a bit more locked in, 2 touches, but perhaps has just as much competition, if not more, than Rico Dowdle. So that one's a bit of a toss-up personally, but I'm definitely Rico above Jalen Warren, who went a full round above Rico in this one. And then Dowdle versus Ramondre, kind of close. I still think I prefer Rico because I believe in Travion. And then Chuba Hubbard is actually a player I think should be going behind Rico Dowdle. So Rico, I think, is a tremendous value, arguably worth 2 full rounds of value, if you ask me. I think once Price is off the board, give me Pollard and Rico as the next best options. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, Team 11. So far, they have shifted back into gear, but they go Christian Watson as wide receiver 1, Michael Wilson wide receiver 2. Don't love that. Pick 83. I've seen him in the 100s quite often lately, Soups. But get your guy, Chris Godwin at 86. Perfectly legit. Very fine click. No problemo with Chris Godwin there. Do you play any other sports on Underdog? I really like the single game salary contest that they have started doing for NBA. I hope it comes to the NFL. Honestly, no, I'm strictly NFL. I just don't I don't subscribe. I don't watch enough of other sports. I'm not locked in like I once was. And for that reason, I would like to just spend more time focusing on football. So when it is time to lock in, I'm not distracted with other stuff. I've kind of lost interest in the NBA, in all honesty. I've mentioned this over the months, over the playoffs. I think I've mentioned this a couple times. I do not. What's up, dogs? Anonymous, how we doing tonight? I vote Superflex next, Field General. You know what? Let's set up a poll. We're in the 9th round. We got time. Second draft. Puppy or Superflex. If it is close, I may override the choice. I might override it, but DJ Quill, welcome in. What am I drafting? I am in the puppy right now. You're currently in the puppy. We'll see, but let me catch up with everyone. We got 2 mules. Just finished a main event draft. Check out this receiver room. Let me make this click, and then I'll check it out. I mean, fuck it. Yeah, it's the week 17 matchup. I don't see him fall this late, and I'm not going to give him to the neighbor's drafter. Gimme Jackson Dart. Unstacked. Well past ADP. We got some back stacks available. Pick 105. Maybe a controversial political figure right now, but we are looking at statistics and a quarterback that runs the ball like crazy. So, very nice price on Jackson Dart in this one. I will take him at 105. Unstacked, but the neighbor's team not going to get him. UCF Jaguar, apologies, but I don't think you ever expected him to make it back to you. So, he does not, appropriately so. He does not. But there's an argument that Kyler's going to be better. Also, you have Kyler stacked up, so I don't think you care too much other than maybe getting both of them. But there was no guarantee Kyler would also be there for you at 111 here. So you get one. It's not Jackson Dart. It's not who you expected. But Bo Nix also falling. Could do that. But it's been a minute since I've selected Jonathan Brooks. I'm taking Jonathan Brooks. I don't have a reason to stack up Bo Nix, and the remaining options are so unappealing. I'm not going to put myself in that scenario again. I already got Prescott. I already have Dart. I've already spent a decent amount. Might be willing to take a third, but I think I can get away with these two, honestly, if I really want to. And my running back room, we've been patient with it, but honestly, I feel pretty good about it as long as Brooks does hit. But a big reason I prefer Rico over Chuba is because of my belief in Brooks. And even if Brooks doesn't deliver, I still think Trevor Etienne could factor in there. But Chuba gets paid too much to disappear. Jonathan Brooks, however, if fully healthy, which it's a big if, is the better player. No doubt in my mind, Jonathan Brooks, potential, the prospect that was drafted out of the University of Texas, is a better player than Chuba Hubbard. First time I've really noticed, but it looks like your room is in a log cabin. Oh, yeah. It kind of is. It might as well be. Yeah, all that wood is real. Something flying around. Whoops. Sorry. Yeah, basically that's how I I'm off grid, Soups. I'm completely off grid other than my Wi-Fi connection. Get money, get money. Yeah, that's what it's going to be on this channel for sure. GMFB, I like it. I guess it's FBGM. I think I've heard it more FBGM, but GMGM definitely. That's what we're trying to do. I think this is the first time I've done 4 RBs to start, but with the Jacobs fall, it has me interested. I think once you're in the 4th, it's fair to take Jacobs. Now, should he be going closer to the 5th? Maybe, but, you know, you're not back on the clock until 59. He ain't coming back. So Jacobs there, given the build, very unique start. And I'm going to be curious if you take a 5th. Not totally sure, but hope you wait. Hope you wait, if you will. As for the other sports, I don't watch at all. I just look at projections and betting lines. It's usually my most profitable sport, oddly enough. You know what? That's an interesting take, because there is the emotional aspect of being a fan. You know, like, as much as I love the Chargers, I don't know if I would be 30% Herbert right now. Whoa, really? Damn. I'm not passing here. Let's do it. Yo, this is interesting. What a discount at quarterback on this one. Dak Prescott at 81, not a discount. Who cares? But Jackson Dart, 10 picks past ADP at 105, legitimately interesting. And then Baker circling all the way back at 129. I do have Baker stacked up with Igbuka. This is a very, very good and affordable quarterback room for what we're taking. Who saying QBs are falling a lot in some rooms right now. Definitely that's the case today. So maybe the market is shifting. Maybe now that it's officially June, I think that now that the calendar has shifted, maybe some more newbies, some more casuals, some more people that haven't seen the board as long as someone like I or you have, Who-Hames. Like, we've been looking at the board since February. You might have even been looking at it in January. I gave it a little pause in January, but that could be a huge shift as we move through the summer, as more and more casuals that are like just unfamiliar with this new landscape at the position circle in. Maybe that's what happens. But I got Jackson Dart. Beautiful. Isaiah Likely is stacked up here. This is an interesting team. This is a pretty fun team. Let's break it down so far. We got Dak Prescott, Jackson Dart, Baker Mayfield, and then a combined 25 picks of closing line value of ADP falling value on this quarterback room. I'm really happy with that. That's more than 2 rounds combined. We have Derrick Henry in the 2nd, Quinshawn in the 5th, Rico in the 8th, and then Jonathan Brooks in the 10th. Really happy I took Brooks over Baker. Super satisfied with this scenario. And then wideout, CeeDee Lamb, the truly elite top 3 ceiling. T. Higgins, any given week, top 5 ceiling, but on the season, more like a top 15, maybe top 12 type of guy. And then Igbuka here is stacked up, really talented. And then BTJ, definitely a polarizing player this year. Either you love him or you hate him, but no doubt about it, he's talented enough to crush in any given week. So, all right, we still have some stuff to do here. I think this is a 3 tight end build most likely, but I'm pretty happy with it through 12 rounds. And we might need 4 more receivers, 1 more running back, and depending on the price, maybe one of those receivers is a 3rd tight end, but at least 1 more tight end for sure. Those Jonathan Brooks 160 shares in pre-draft. Oh yeah, I know it's been quite nice to have consistently chased Jonathan Brooks up the board, to be in on him from the beginning. Definitely feels nice. But it's been quite a while since he's been there. I mean, now, even when I took him 112 here, I was like, damn, he's still available? I've seen him go at like pick 100 a few times. So Jonathan Brooks getting more and more expensive by the minute. Just smashing buttons, don't mind me. Am I by Big Bear? No. Not close to Big Bear, relatively speaking. That Watson build is crazy. I was at the 11th spot. I am on the clock. I imagine Jalen McMillan definitely makes sense here. For sure. Experienced, probably doesn't break his neck again. And maybe Ted Hurst outperforms him, but there's also a world where Chris Godwin gets hurt again. You know, Godwin or even Ibuka, you know, they had a lot of injuries last season. With no Evans, there is a lot up for grabs, and the chemistry between McMillan and Baker is undeniable. So it's going to be tough for Ted Hurst to just completely pry McMillan off the field. I know it's crowded, and McMillan is going to be splitting time more so than the other receivers there, but I still believe in him ultimately. But I think if I just take Brenton Strange here, I don't really have to grab a third tight end if I don't want to. I could take Kate Otten. I could mix in a Theo Johnson, I suppose. If I really wanted to get weird, I could go a round 18 Luke Schoonmaker. Yo, Luke Schoonmaker. Imagine if he's the guy you need. That'd be fucking hilarious. But Brenton Strange at 160, I think a very nice click. I'm also already committed to the Jags with BTJ, and I mentioned it. I really like that Monday night matchup. Jaguars hosting the Commanders. Should be a good passing game script. Good matchup for the Jags. But tried to push QB, didn't work. Those running backs, though. Jameis. As a pair with Jackson Dart, if you want to get crazy, just get the Giants QB every week. That'd be funny, but I've done it before, especially in the pre-draft. I have done it once or twice. I do love Jameis though in Superflex. Jameis is one of my favorite clicks in Superflex, in all honesty. GL on the draft tonight. Thank you, Mr. Acevedo. Good luck to you, whether we are in the next one or not. Good luck to you as well. How we doing, Anthony? Hope you're enjoying your evening. If I'm mistaken, your Spurs did not get the job done tonight. If I'm correct, sorry to bring it up. Last I recall, that is the outcome I saw. Yeah, bummer. But thank you for joining us this evening. J-Mac has been getting some OTA buzz. That's good to hear. McMillan was lights out the end of his rookie season and was hurt all last year with a neck injury. He was a legit chance to command similar target volume to Egbuka. I do think, as much as I have considered McMillan needing to fall, I think now that he's in the 150s, I'm in. I think there's really no reason not to take him, especially on a team with Baker already. But there is a world where Ted Hurst poses a problem. Ted Hurst is a behemoth, but could have a slow rookie start. McMillan, I think at the moment, is still definitely the front runner for wide receiver 3, and I don't think he's ever really coming off the field unless Ted Hurst is just balling the fuck out. Tempted to take him, though, just to kind of shore it up, cover my bases. It feels like a bit of a floor play, but I don't really want to take Kate Otten on this team. And by taking Ted Hurst, I think I've oversaturated myself with these Buccaneers. I think I'm just going to call it with Likely and Strange. Maybe Freiermuth is undeniably a good pick, but I like only using 5 on the quarterback and tight end position. And I think from a true upside standpoint, touchdowns in these offenses and like the roles they play, I'm happy with Likely and Brenton Strange. stopping there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers so far. I'm thinking this is a 3-5-8-2 perhaps. That's what I'm thinking. 3 Tampa Bay Bucks, 2 true studs, 1 big wild card. Damn it, Darnell Mooney was definitely on in my sights here. Damn it, that would have been nice. Shit. I got it. Whew, that was close. Yeah, just give me the other stacking partner. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't have much of him. Only a 20-second clock. Once the name makes sense and it's in, you know, the justified click position. These are $1 clicks. There's nothing wrong with a Malachi Fields at 184 when the alternative is just taking top of ADP because you time out and you don't want Nick Singleton on this team. So I would have been in the market for Malachi Fields at 201. Honestly, I was hoping to get Mooney and Malachi Fields together. So once Mooney went to UCF, appreciate the snipe, brother. Definitely the other name in my Rolodex was the other Giants receiver. So let's bet on the rookie in this one. I mean, Malachi Fields definitely an interesting prospect profile. Let me pull it up in a separate tab and show it to y'all. But given the injury history of Darnell Mooney these last couple seasons, I'm not too afraid to bet against Darnell Mooney. But let's bring in Malachi Fields. The man is 6'5", 218. Drafted in the 3rd round, so fairly legit draft capital. He is not very fast. However, given his size and speed, he has legit burst. He has pretty decent burst, 76th percentile in the speed score and burst score. So the 10-yard split sometimes is a little more important than the 40. Contextually speaking, even CeeDee Lamb didn't run in the 4.4s. So would have loved to see this number a bit lower. Definitely a higher percentile would be nice, but catch radius is pretty sweet. And at the moment, the Giants receiver room is in flux. They can't have much confidence in who the ball's going to go to at this point in time. So they invested in Malachi Fields. They definitely want him to develop and turn into something. And similar to Ted Hurst, at 6'5", we're getting someone that can just moss you. Ted Hurst is only 6'4", but Ted Hurst is significantly faster than Malachi Fields. 4.41 compared to 4.61. Big difference. Like I said, I think I'm going to stop at 2 tight ends. Willing to risk it with these 2. Got some sweet ADP falls in this draft. And let's lean in. I am back on the clock here. Emmett Johnson's still available. I think so. I think I'll take him. Yeah. Pick 201. Let's take Emmett Johnson. If Kenneth Walker gets hurt again, which has happened pretty consistently, then Emmett Johnson slides into one of the best backup roles you can find to be upgraded to a starter in the Andy Reid system. Definitely piques my interest. Now, maybe Imari DiMercado will be a problem. Maybe that's who you'd rather have, but I believe Emmett is more talented. And then here on the clock, I mean, I really wanted Mooney and Fields. There's not many options for Dak. I'm actually talking myself into the third tight end now that I think about it. It's not going to hurt me And then I also get the bring back between the Rams and the Buccaneers, week 17. Maybe Terrence Ferguson goes off. It's definitely useful. He can also hit my flex, not just the 8th receiver. And I guess these 3 are good enough to really trust. And then I've got, one of these 2 bucks is always going to be on the field, typically speaking. Especially if Godwin gets hurt. This team is really interesting. And I like that I didn't overcommit with Kate Otten. It can be easy to just like, okay, we have Baker, lock in Kate Otten. I just stuck with the receivers instead. All right, fun team, and then the quarterback value really stands out in this one. But as Hu Hames was saying, maybe that is a trend, and it might be easier to replicate soon. But at least from what I've seen, this is a really phenomenal trio. The Dak Prescott, Jackson Dart, Baker Mayfield with 25 total picks of ADP value. Excellent quarterback room, if you ask me. Running back, super balanced, very legit. I'm very happy with it, and I think it works really well. Derrick Henry, Quinshon Judkins, Rico Dowdle, Brooks, and then Emmett Johnson in the 17th round. So ignoring that big middle pack. Once we get into the handcuffs, into the backups, ignore a lot of names when Brooks is your RB4. We might have 4 starters. I like that quite a bit. But receiver with CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins, and then Igbuka in the 4th. I think stopping at 7, I can get away with, especially if I'm right about Malachi Fields. But maybe Brian Thomas being the correct pick can also be enough. Maybe in theory, all I need are these 4 in the playoff weeks. Maybe, just maybe. But a couple extra Buccaneers not going to hurt. It's a really good passing offense in general. And then the stack for Malachi Fields. The stacked up likely, the unstacked Brenton Strange, but another Jaguar, just betting on that Commanders matchup Monday night, week 17. And then on Sunday night, week 17, the Rams Bucks bring back with Terrence Ferguson. I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe an 8th receiver versus tight end 3 would have been sweet, but not critical. Let me know what y'all thought on that final pick. Wide receiver or tight end? If I could have gotten Mooney and Malachi Fields, I definitely wouldn't have Ferguson on this team. That's for sure. But, we got a new member to the Blunt Rotation. John Tara in here. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for joining. And cheers to you, my friend. Let's take a rip for John Tara, new memby to the Blunt Rotation. Let's go. Let's take a look at John Tara's team and appreciate you, Soups. I do feel like this is a good team. Let's take a look at some other teams in this one. Hopefully I do advance, but let's see what John Tara is working with. He had the 107, goes Herbert, my boy. Can't be upset with that. And then Cam Ward. Honestly, I think you can get away with it, especially if we get the breakout out of Cam Ward. I think we can get, but usually Cam Ward is my QB2. I often like a 3rd, in all honesty. But with Herbert, who I think could win the MVP, I think you can also be just fine. Running back started off robust with Taylor Walker in the 2nd, and then Travis in the 3rd. Waited for pick 151 on Tyler Algier. I'm not fond of the Arizona Cardinals, so I never really reach on any of them. But if there's one that might be mispriced, it is possibly Tyler Algier. There was a time when we were drafting Algier in the 80s this offseason. Back in February, Algier was someone we actually highly coveted. So in theory, it's still a good value. And then Sean Tucker in Tampa, one of my favorite clicks. And his new ADP is 175. I think he can still go higher, but you get him right there. So fair click. Ladd McConkey's receiver 1 with Herbert. Really nice. Carnell Tate receiver 2. I commit to it just yesterday and definitely has the breakout potential. Has the draft capital to pay off, so good luck. You have the other Jags wideout with Parker Washington, Quentin Johnston, the double stack in LA, and then Michael Pittman and Stephon Diggs. Maybe not the most elite wide receiver room up top, but pretty solid depth to have Diggs as the 6th. I think selection-wise, good clicks all around. And then Wicks is not too bad. We got Lemon on the thumbnail today, but maybe Wicks can outproduce him at times. And then Taekwon for the bring back, I do think is an interesting round 18 click. Don't hate it, but it feels a little... This feels like the luxury pick, honestly. The Taekwon click feels like the luxury selection. But you do have the bring back. You also have the Travis Kelce bring back. Love that. He's historically really played well against the Chargers, especially at SoFi. So it could happen again. And then Schultz, Freiermuth, 2 of the best floor plays at the position. You did reach 9 spots, though, on Dalton Schultz. Where'd you take Schultz? Quarterback did run out. You also kind of reached on Algier. I think I would have taken a 3rd quarterback instead of Algier and then kind of just lived with the consequences if RB5 ends up being taken instead of Taekwon. I think this team is not bad. I think the 3rd quarterback could help you. As much as I love Herbert and Cam Ward, I personally don't have many teams that just stop with those 2. So I think a Daniel Jones could have helped you. A Mendoza could... Oh, especially Mendoza, because the best case scenario for Diggs is he's in Vegas. I think Mendoza could have been a sneaky click there that also just kind of ensures you're set at QB. But Mendoza can be tough to convince yourself is worth your time. I get it. I think that's the only thing I might have done differently, is just take a quarterback instead of Algier and lived without him. And just take an RB instead of Taekwon or Wicks. Because there's a chance that you get a better click, honestly. Like where I took Emmett Johnson versus Tyler. There's a world where Emmett Johnson outperforms Tyler Algier. There was also a time when Emmett Johnson was being drafted much higher in the 110s. Someone like myself may have taken him many times back then. So I can believe it is possible. And that's where structurally, that's maybe the only thing I might have done differently. But I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's a problem at all. Algier, like I said, at one time was extremely coveted. All right, so sweet team, John Tara. Let me take a look for. You really wanted Helm, right? That'd be a decent stack. Any other member in this lobby? If you are a member, please leave a comment. Just anything. Like literally, you can just drop a dot, a punctuation, like Disbanded Brotherhood does, just to see if there's another member in this lobby that I don't want to forget. But I think we can just go in reverse order. We got Soups, UCF. Jedi Loco. I'm pretty sure Jedi Loco is a member. Let me do Jedi Loco. Allen and Shuck, phenomenal 2 QB room. Achan, Scadaboo, Pollard. Pretty legit. I don't love Achan, but I think on the board he was a fine selection there. Manungai and Spears. So both Titans. Not in love with that because I could see Pollard go down and you still have the wrong Titan. So I think I'd rather have a different player than Tyjae Spears at RB5. But I like the Manungai selection. Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Tyson. So Moore and Tyson are stacked up. Golden Shakir is also stacked up. Tesla, Tyreek Hill, and Cooper Kupp, pretty decent. The veterans, though, good luck with those. And even Tesla's a little bit of a gamble. Shakir also coming back from ankle surgery about 2 months ago. Dallas Goedert, Juwan Johnson, Cade Otton. Legit tight end room. Nothing to complain about. Good team. Very structurally sound. Maybe some individual player takes I have differently, but these 5 I think are really, really legit. especially the double Buffalo stacked up with Allen. Really sweet. Maybe I would have taken someone else than Tyjae Spears, though. That's it. Peyton's in here. We got Hurts, Tua, and Deshaun. Go ahead and take the massage. Tua and the massage. Feels like a lot of early season points. I feel like I'd be kind of more interested in Tua and Shador, and then Deshaun and Penix. The massage and Penix, I think, go better together. Because here's the thing. In Atlanta, I think Tua's going to start week 1. And then I think if they're not in playoff contention, then they'll give the reins to Penix to see what he can do at the end of the season. Same thing with Deshaun. I think Deshaun can start the year, but I think odds are they're not going to compete, and he's going to lose the job inevitably because there's no real reason to keep him if they're like, 2-8. Why the fuck not see what you got in Shador and all those young pieces that you just acquired? So I don't mind the cheap Atlanta-Cleveland approach. I actually think that's pretty smart and interesting. But I will say I think I'd rather go Shador with Tua because I think based on what parts of the year they'll line up, I think you'll get a lot of repetitive games, weeks 1 through 10 with these two, and then a chance that they're both off the field entirely in the fantasy playoffs. So I think that is how I would have played it, just a little bit differently. But what do I know? Maybe this is the true correct way to do it. But I also have a big bias against Deshaun Watson. I don't want the karma of the massage. But Travion, Byshul Tootin, Kenneth Gainwell, and Rachaad White, really strong top 4. And then Damon Claiborne, worth the gamble. You faded. You didn't take the Vikings, so an RB3, not bad. I guess you don't have an elite running back, so maybe it's not really strong, but the depth is pretty good. Wow, you took Tootin at 51. You pulled up Byshul Tootin, 9 spots. Felt the pressure, I guess. So I hope Travion works out. I believe in him, but I guess a little bit risky up top. There's a chance that you rely on Walker tremendously. Jamar Chase, Drake London is stacked up. Pickens, Mackay, Travis Hunter, Jalen Naylor, and Stribling. And then Fannin, Chigokonkwo, Gunnar Helm. You did also reach on Helm unstacked at 171. Not sure you needed Gunnar Helm, honestly. Because Fannin should work out. Okonkwo, also really good value. You took both of them above ADP, so you just really wanted your guys in this. You have faith in Gunnar Helm. I suppose, yeah, it's totally fine. It's a legit luxury selection for sure. Fannin is also stacked up on this one. No Denzel Boston or Concepcion, however. Not bad. Helm went in the place of my Mendoza pick. Gotcha. Yeah, for sure, Jedi. We're definitely doing one more. One more after this. We got several team reviews, though. I think there's like at least 3 more with Jackson Duffy is next, and then we're also going to do UCF and Soups. So yeah, 3 more. No, this is Jackson Duffy at the 106. Goes Purdy, Bo Nix, and Geno Smith. The price on Bo Nix, very legit. Is he stacked up? He is with Sutton. Bravo. Bravo. Glad he fell back around to a Denver receiver drafter. Good for you. Love to see it. The Geno click at 198, I think I would also make that decision. So very, very legit QB room. McCaffrey, Kyron, Tyrone Tracy. Okay, a little shaky at RB here, but Coleman, Nick Singleton at 187, so a little discount, more palatable. And then Emmanuel Wilson, 211, also a little discount, but they're going so late. Are they worthless? I don't love the Coleman click. I really don't, but you got plenty of production early in the season, and if you suffer an injury, maybe one of these rookies does save you. But the running back room also might just be fine. with the two up top, but it is rather tricky to trust. This is not my favorite running back room, that's for sure. Evans is stacked. Roma Dunze, Marvin Harrison right at ADP. Think he can fall, honestly. The Sutton stack, kind of a gift, but totally works out. That's how you drew it up. Definitely how you drew it up. Ricky Pearsall stacked up, Shaheed, and Antonio Williams. A very legit receiver room. And then Bowers, the elite tight end, with Hawkinson, a cheap backup. Yeah, other than maybe just these 4 running backs not inspiring much confidence, I think that's the only thing I'm not in love with. But just like me, a really, really valuable quarterback room. But obviously Geno Smith, maybe not the most exciting. He's also unstacked. But really good price on Geno Smith and Bo Nix. We have Emmanuelson is a great click, says John Tara. He's a fair click. I'm not sure if he's a great. He's a good click. I'm willing to say he's a good click. UCF right next to me had Kyler, Daniel Jones, and Bryce Young. A 10-pick fall on Daniel Jones, and then a 5-pick discount on Bryce Young. Very, very legit, totally fine. Definitely with only Kyler taking Jones and Young makes plenty of sense. Running back with Hampton, Bucky. Good luck with Bucky. The vibes are definitely off right now with Bucky. Had he made it back to me in the 6th, I probably would have taken him, but you got him in the 5th after I passed for Quinchon. A very fair click at the moment, but I prefer it in the 6th. Harvey, not my favorite selection, but high upside for sure. Rodriguez, totally legit selection. And then the Keaton Mitchell handcuff. I'm not anti-handcuff, but I will say the Keaton Mitchell price is pretty high to have a contingent bet against Hampton as your RB1. I'm not in love with this handcuff price in particular at 135. If you're stacking up Saquon and Tank Bigsby, and Bigsby's at like 165, 170, maybe even later than that, that I think is a little bit more appealing to me. But the argument you're making that for these 2 clicks goes against each other in some way. Maybe they can coexist, but I'm not envisioning a Raheem Mostert Achane type of season out of Hampton and Keaton. I think if Keaton really pops is because Hampton goes down, and then the team is perhaps just dead if you're not getting points out of RB2. So a risky running back room. I'm not sure I would have done the same, at least with Keaton Mitchell. Pick 135. I'm surprised he just keeps climbing, but I guess maybe you could talk yourself into the argument he's just as valuable as someone like Blake Corum. Maybe he's that good, and I might have blinders on, but I think it's a little too expensive when you also have Hampton. Individually, go for it, but not together is my take at that price. Jefferson, Neighbors at 34. At some point, you got to just take the risk. Tet in the 4th, Metcalf, and Ayuk. I mean, really? Ayuk after today's news? Questionable. Darnell Mooney, the snipe hurt me. I will say that the snipe was kind of brutal. And then Surratt and Jack Betch. Interesting receiver room. The Betch Ayuk click. Okay. But definitely the bet against maybe Neighbors take some time. Having Mooney definitely makes sense. And then tight end is really legit with just Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson. So yeah, quarterback is totally legit. Running back a little bit more of a bogey than a par, but not bad. Not bad at all, especially if Bucky fucking crushes. And then receiver, a little risky, some interesting depth options, but very fun, very legit team, and some good stacks. The Daniel Jones, Tyler Warren stack is valuable. The Jefferson stack, super valuable. And then Bryce with Tet. Yeah, good stacks all around. Very, very legit team. kind of the only note is on Keaton, Ayuk, and Jack Betch. But if you want to take Betch, go for it. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna have Mendoza. If I'm gonna take Jack Betch, I think that's the only way I'll do it. We had one more, and that was Soups at pick 11, and Soups had that 4 RB build. Definitely don't want to pass on the team review here, but Burrow, Malik, and Mendoza, totally legit. Are they all stacked up? Burrow with Chase Brown at least. Okay, I thought for a second Burrow was unstacked, but then it's that's kind of it. No one with Malik, but he can run it. And then, oh, Trey Tucker is paired up with Mendoza. But the running back room, are we envious? Cook, Chase Brown, Javonte, and Josh Jacobs with Mike Washington also technically stacked up. Wide receiver, C. Watson, Michael Wilson, Chris Godwin, Romeo Dobbs, Trey Tucker, Tank Dell, Judy, and A.D. Mitchell. So some risky plays down here. And the conviction. I did not like the Michael Wilson pick. I remember that. I did not love the Michael Wilson selection. But maybe you're right. Maybe he works out. And then Kyle Pitts, Dalton Kincaid. Worth stopping there, I suppose. Not too bad. Yeah, just kind of tough to get back given the running back build. But the Michael Wilson click, I think, makes this feel really shaky at wideout. Because Watson has some big injury risks, so does Godwin, and then really questionable role for Wilson right now. Dobbs is fine, but I feel like you're really counting on Dobbs on this team. I feel like Dobbs is not a player I want to expect the world from in order to advance. So tricky build to maneuver. But quarterback feels fine, running back feels elite, tight end feels good, and then receiver feels like a major gamble. But worth it. Worth it in the long run. I don't hate it. But good luck with the depth, for sure. All right, one more draft, and let's take a look at the poll results. We are 60-40 in favor of a puppy. That's an extra 50% more than the Superflex vote, so I think we're going to stick with the poll. If it was less than 60%, if it was like 55-45, I think I would put my thumb on the scale. But another vote just came in for the puppy, so we will do the puppy one more time. We will stick with the puppy. Feels like the plan. All right. Y'all know the deal. I'll give you a 5-second warning starting now. Drafting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 4 spots. It's been a minute since I've seen some open spots. There we go. There we go. Sweet. Yo, again, I get fucking pick 8 again. It wouldn't be a streamed draft without pick 8, would it? Wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a proper stream without a pick 8. But looks like we got 53 watchers. We're on to draft 2. If you're enjoying the content, feel free to hit that like button. Definitely an easy, affordable way to support the channel. Subscribing is also free. Would really appreciate that if you are inclined to do so. And then if you also want to become a member, you lock in a team review at the end of this draft if you are a member of the Blunt Rotation. Also, a reminder, if you are just popping in, we also have promo code BLUNT. Our partner Underdog is willing to offer $50 extra in bonus funds for Blunt users. Link is in the description. You also get a first-time deposit match up to $1,000, 50% your first deposit on top of this extra 50. Play one puppy and get 10 on them. Promo code BLUNT in the description. Yeah, the 5-second gives me a chance to maybe just be the last person in the lobby. There's a chance that there's an 11 out of 12 lobby just sitting there. And by only giving you 5 seconds, there's a chance that I can sneak in and get in with that final click. Damn it. Really? Damn it. I don't really want to do it, but I'm gonna go Jefferson instead. Last second decision. I was able to click it in time. I'm always a little disappointed with my Jonathan Taylor teams. They're gonna be fine, but they don't feel. They feel like they're missing something. And at pick 17, I'm definitely still able to take a running back if I read the board correctly. I will still have at least one running back still there at pick 17. And whoever it is, I think there's an argument that they can outscore Jonathan Taylor, and then obviously if McCaffrey gets hurt, they can also outscore CMC. So there are not many receivers who I can argue will outscore Justin Jefferson. There's also an argument that Justin Jefferson is the wide receiver 3 this year. I think there's an argument for it. We've drafted him up there for sure. A bounce back season for Jefferson definitely in the cards. Could happen, but am I going to get what I really, really hoped for? Damn it. So close. So effing close. I might just go double purple, though. Yeah, let's go double purple jersey. Jefferson and Derrick Henry, 2 of the best matchups in Week 17. The Ravens hosting the Bengals. Unfortunately, it's Thursday night, but no, they're at the Bengals. Never mind. Ravens are on the road. Thursday night, Week 17. And then Jefferson, I wish this game was at home, but still is at the Jets, and they can win that game 40-3 if they want. So Jefferson may come off the field in the fourth quarter, but even if that happens, he's going to light it up before then. And they don't have Sauce Gardner anymore. There's nothing to fear in the Jets secondary. I really, really trust Justin Jefferson this year. Love his playoff schedule in totality, not just Week 17. He's hosting the Commanders Week 15. That's going to be lit. Then he's hosting the Lions Week 16. Pretty sure it's that order, not the other way around. Oh, no, it is the other way around. The Week 15, he's hosting Detroit. Definitely lit. And then Week 16, he's hosting the Commanders. Then he's at the New York Jets. UCF, you're welcome, brother. Have a good night. Enjoy your evening. Thank you for drafting with us earlier. Soups like the camp talk about Wilson. Which Wilson? Emmanuel Wilson. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Definitely a scenario where he does crush his ADP. Wide receiver room could definitely blow up in my face big time here. Always try to multi-table these to get into the same lobby. It's how I get my volume in for these contests. Interesting. Yeah, that's also one way to do it. Hit the 2 entries at once. But plus EV like a motherfucker up in here tonight. We want in. Young Moolah is at the 102. He went Gibbs, Nico, and Devontae. Not sure about J-Rock to party at the 101, but we have Keen Allen in here. Very interesting. Game Tight at the 105 pulled bully tight end with the Las Vegas double tap and the Arizona bring back. Wow. Just only Week 17 matters for Game Tight on this one. What am I looking at here? JMO. Would not have expected that. I'm going to go Chris Olave for sure. Jameson Williams paired with Amon-Ra at pick 31. Wow. I saw on the board it was Jay Williams, but in orange, I was like, that's not Javante. Oh, shit. He pulled up JMO at 31. I've seen JMO in the 50s before, especially in the Eliminator contest. JMO is really not coveted there. But even in these contests, I've also seen JMO in the 50s. So that is a little shocking. I've seen Flowers pulled up. I've seen Igbuka pulled up. This is the first time I've seen JMO pulled up like that. Wow. Might be building the worst roster I've ever constructed right now on DK. Good luck, who? Going true D-Gen at midnight. I'm slowly coming around to underdogs over DK. Interesting, Francis. I've heard some people are shifting in the other direction, but I'm definitely true to underdog, at least while I'm still getting site credit. Definitely still true to underdog. Do I just take Jacobs here at 41? I think I will, but it doesn't feel amazing. But I think I will do it. Yep, it happened. Tucker Craft tight end 3. Oh, okay. Say no more, Huhames. Say no more. We definitely a crazy build. Kraft pick 100 with Bowers and Loveland. Damn. Francis, I have passed on Ayuk since day one. He hasn't showed up in years. Why believe anything else? Dude is a mess. Yeah, the shit today, death nail for me. He was already on extremely thin ice. I wasn't taking him. I haven't taken him in a while. Not since like mid-March, I think I've taken Ayuk. And even then, I was very undercommitted to him this year compared to other seasons. But right now, no chance. No chance in hell. I got started one this morning with JSN Bowers and McBride. Fell 3 spots to me, so I took him. It's worth trying, but I think it's really tough to come back from. It can be very difficult because it's so unnecessary. It's really unnecessary, especially if McBride does not pay off tight end 2. There's a world where he's just as good as, like, I don't know about like Sam Laporta, you know, like maybe even Kyle Pitts. Probably not that far, but Fannin versus McBride, you know, what if that's the outcome we have next season? Like, that's the decision based on this year's production. If McBride does not pay off, which I think there's a true scenario where he doesn't even come close to this, you know, like what if he only has like 2 touchdowns again? That would be brutal. But his volume is still probably locked in. I don't think he'd be that bad. It'd be pretty tough to be that bad. It would need Fannin to just fucking crush, and that's where, you know, maybe it's still not worth it because you could have gotten someone of equal value later on much more reasonably. So I can't say I love it. Not excited. But here I think I'm just gonna go Lamar. But I also kind of want to take Beischel Tootin. The Lamar Derrick Henry stack, it maybe isn't necessary, just because Jacobs, I'm not sure what to do honestly with Jacobs right now. Let me just lock up a running back, an RB3. I think if you are going to take Jacobs, it's best that it's a strong early commitment to running back that can carry him if he does get suspended. Because if he doesn't play, the team is just dead. You know, the team is probably just dead. More likely than not, it's really not going to stand a chance if he's a 0. But as long as he plays, it's probably a fine click. And even with a 6-week suspension, probably worth it. But definitely going to need someone to carry me up to that point. And We'll see. But some interesting picks being made in this room. Definitely a few interesting clicks for sure. Lamar did fall to the 6th round. I'm going to go Parker Washington, further commit to Jacksonville. And then maybe the Brian Thomas Jr. drafter does take him, but he does have Lamar at the moment, so might pass at the next turn. I think he meant Michael Wilson. Oh, Wilson. Okay, gotcha. There's a lot of Wilsons. I've learned this typing it, getting all of the thumbnails. I can never just give one of the Wilsons strictly their last name. There's Garrett Wilson. There's Michael Wilson. There's Emmanuel Wilson. There's I feel like there's another Wilson. This also applies with all of the Williams. Like there's Jamison Williams, Javonte Williams, Kyron Williams, not to mention a bunch of other ones like who was the Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions, or even more recently the New Orleans Saints. Jamal Williams versus Javonte Williams. Very important indication. It's like Bijan Robinson versus Brian Robinson, you know? You can't just tell me Robinson of the Falcons. I don't think McBride puts up anywhere close to the number he put up last year. He feels like a bad pick. I'm not going to lie. He feels like a really, really tough pick. Even if he was there for me at 32, I'm not sure I would have taken him. I probably would have felt compelled to do it if Olave was off the board, but it's not my cup of tea. In our underflow/overflow draft, fun drafts with different builds. Very fair. Cooler's coming in with, I'm a little unsure what to do with Jacobs now, just because in a contest like Puppy 2, this is just his new ADP. Not always getting value. That's a very fair thing to say, Coolers. Taking him there also fell in the bucket still of he is not coming back. He was not going to make it back. So in that regard, I was willing to scoop him up. But I think I'd rather have Tucker Kraft than Jaden Reed. I think I'd prefer to have Kraft. Passing on Herbert, though, always tough for me to do. But for now, does feel worth embracing some of the risk. Yeah. I'm not going to be overweight Jacobs, but I think in the middle of the 4th, I haven't really been given the chance too often. I think when I'm at the top of the 4th, I don't do it. Because especially on the right side of the board, I usually already have 2 running backs by then. And especially if I can still get Javonte or sometimes even Kyron over Jacobs, I'll do that. But I think I'm willing to take Scadaboo over Jacobs sometimes. But then today in this scenario, I really haven't taken him in a minute since he's fallen at all. So I took him once at 38, and today I take him at 41. I think the next time I'm going to take him, it's going to be like pick 44 or later. Could just take Addison for the double stack. Get really committed to the Vikings, but Dowdle's still on the board. And my running back room could be really questionable with Jacobs for a minute. So similar to Soup's team on the last one, he had a lot of running backs early on to kind of cover for Jacobs. I'm getting some more valuable running backs to cover for Jacobs, but I'm still trying to get a robust room that can push a Josh Jacobs through in case he's giving me some zeros. I haven't built out a Jacob's room since like the day all the news happened, so I think I like the way that Soups did it just from a volume standpoint. Not sure you need 4 by the 4th round every time, but having 4 by the 8th round, I think is solid. Who Hames, I'm going to basically full fade him in the puppy too, I think. Very fair decision. I'm definitely not going to be overweight. I'll say that. Confused why AJ Brown keeps moving up in ADP. I feel everyone was under assumption he was going to New England. Yeah, it's just the confirmation of like, now we know how really good you can project him authentically with Drake May. And I think now that it's just like the new toy, I think some people are like, well, he clearly has to move up, and I wasn't taking him enough, so now I just got to make sure I get him. I think that's kind of just how it goes. It's the news cycle always kind of determines how we react in the moment. Like, as long as there is like big news about someone, then they will either move up quickly or like slowly trickle down. But it's not like anything has really changed if you were playing it correctly this whole time. I am back on the clock here. I think I'm just going to lock up my QB1. I'm just going to go Kyler. Because there's probably not a chance he circles back. I know that Addison Drafter is on the other side, but Kyler has too much rushing value for people to see him in the 10th and willingly want to pass on him. Maybe this side of the board has enough invested at quarterback already, but I am probably just taking another quarterback in the next round as well. So if I get sniped on, this is the only team I'm worried about sniping him. It's Tyler Shuck. If Tyler Shuck is available, I will take him for sure. Just lock it up. Jordan Love is off the board to the Watson Jaden Reed drafter. So my Kraft stack is off the board. I did not get Trevor Lawrence. He went to the Brian Thomas drafter. Mayfield and Kittle come off the board. And maybe my receiver room will be thin, but the thought process here is I take Shuck, and I think I'm going to stop at 2 quarterbacks and definitely build out like at least 8 receivers. A 2-5-8-3 might be the move here. I could maybe go with only 2 tight ends in theory because I have Kraft, a really good one. And maybe I go 6 running backs because I have Jacobs. Maybe I just take 6. Soups, I just autoed Burrow here. Not what I wanted at all. The unstacked Burrow. Tricky. I took him unstacked at 73 once, like at the 6-7 turn. And it didn't feel terrible, but it also felt a little just uninspiring. On that team, I had a mega Detroit Lions stack as well, so Burrow just helps me get there with his just raw points. But unstacked feels a little odd. Feels like if you're gonna win it all with Burrow, you probably have either Chase, the other Chase, or T. Higgins. We've just yet to see an NFL event where the ADP was already pricing it in, but I don't disagree with you. This one should have been the outlier. I've been playing it as though he was always going to be with the Patriots, and I thought he was just a smash in the 3rd round. I got 14% AJ Brown in the 3rd round, and then after the draft, once the news came out, I thought he would kind of rise, so I kind of cooled on taking him. I was just right at like 7.5% on AJ Brown before the news dropped. And now that he's in the 2nd, you know, I think I took him yesterday on one of the teams, but I'm not going to be overweight in the 2nd. It's like I already was overweight. I'll probably try to finish around 10% by the end of the summer. for a total exposure type of thing. Aaron Jones is here. I mean, if I take Aaron Jones, maybe I can just stop at 5. But it definitely pairs up with Kyler and definitely furthers my bet in Minnesota. And I do think there's a big tier break behind him. Some people think the tier break is behind Tyrone Tracy, but I'm big enough of a believer in Cam Scadaboo that I genuinely think that the Commanders and Vikings running backs are a tier of their own. And then once you hit Tyrone Tracy, you are entering a much different territory in terms of ROI on drafting running back. You are officially in like clear, no doubt about it, backup handcuff. And I'm actually not that comfortable with my Tyrone Tracy teams, especially in the 11th. I would not have taken Tyrone Tracy if Aaron Jones was off the board. I would have gone receiver for sure. But the value, the luxury of maybe stopping with just Aaron Jones and just really committing to receiver. Maybe I take 9 receivers. Feels like that's probably too much, though. More likely than not. But, I mean, the true luxury pick would be Malik Willis here. Fuck it. We roll with Malik Willis at 137. Let's get different. I don't take Malik too often. If I'm going to take him, he better fall. And it's been a minute since I've gotten him to fall to the mid 13th round. It happens sometimes, but I think the latest I've ever taken Malik is like 150. And he has enough rushing value. He's interesting, but one more tight end on this team and then nothing but receivers. I have 6 clicks left. So 5 wideouts, 1 tight end, and we're not getting the 6th running back. Aaron Jones there gives me the luxury to do this. So this will be interesting. I think this will be a fun team when it's all said and done. How we doing, Best Ball Chosen? I'm doing well tonight. Hope you're enjoying yourself, having a good time. Not sure if you're on the East Coast or West Coast, but it's late, so thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. If you take Jacobs, isn't the hope at the upside that he won't go to jail? It seems bad to take 6 running backs for the reason he could miss lots of time. Yeah, I mean, definitely if you just want to make the argument he's like gonna crush, but I don't think it's terrible if you feel really good. Like, structurally, do I want to take the 9th receiver? Maybe not. If I have a good enough tight end room to stop at 2. The 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 5 RBs, 9 wideouts. Not what I want to do. So ultimately, yeah, I think I ended up siding with you on a similar logic, stopping at 5. But I don't think it's terrible to have a 2-6-8-2 if you feel good enough with only 2 quarterbacks. But today we take Malik Willis. So not going to happen. Not going to be a 6 running back team. People/market are stupid. Elliott should have been going above London this whole time, but wasn't for whatever reason. Last year, he was really bad, though. He was really bad. But I think the relationship he had with Jalen Hurts was just fractured. And then, you know, the offensive play calling was really shitty. So should be much better with Drake May. If he didn't get Pat Surtain week 17, I'm not going to lie, I'd probably be all in on A.J. Brown in the second. But I'm a little pissed that he gets Pat Surtain in week 17. But he also gets the Jets in week 16. A.J. Brown can definitely be a key piece that gets you there. That's for sure. But I think despite the Jawan Jennings stack, I think I might go Omar Cooper just because I think he's a little more talented. But yeah, I'll stick with it. I'll go with Jawan Jennings. I'll take the double stack. But if Who Hames is watching, he's probably like, yo, how the fuck are you passing on Omar Cooper here? But I'm committed to the Vikings, maybe overcommitted, but here I am passing on Omar Cooper Jr. I only liked him at ADP, barely, assuming he was in New England. Now that he's moved up, it's really hard. Yeah, I mean, it's not that much different when you really like think about it, it's not that drastically different. Like, all of the receivers at the 2-3 turn always kind of felt pretty similar, unless you just really don't believe that AJ Brown can get back to elite, and that Nico Collins, George Pickens are so much better. But I was never really convinced that AJ Brown was like a clearly worse pick than Pickens or Nico. But now where he's going, I think makes sense. All right, Omar Cooper did not circle back again, but I think I'm going to go Denzel Boston. We just need receivers. Talented and pretty fucking cheap. But it is the Browns ultimately. There is a world, though, where he's actually more involved than Casey Concepcion. There's a chance we're actually getting the Browns receiver 1. I wouldn't bet on it. I'd rather take Concepcion, but Concepcion is going, what, like 40, 50 picks higher? Where did he go in this one? 122. So yeah, 39, almost 40 picks earlier. But sometimes he goes in the 110s. I've seen him in the 100s as well. I take Cam, but the injury makes me very uncomfortable clicking the button. I just remind myself it's still only June 3rd. And we usually have players come back ahead of schedule during the season to play on like a 5-6 week timeline. I get it, but like, look at Christian Watson last year, you know, like, it's definitely possible that he's just perfectly fine. Did you say let's take 3 tight ends by Tucker Kraft? No, on this team, I'm going to stop at 2. Love the night streams. Thank you, sir. You're welcome, Seth. Appreciate you joining us and glad you enjoy it. All right, we are at 58 watchers, 38 likes. If we can get to, fuck it, I'm gonna say 50 likes tonight. If 12 of you who haven't hit the like button hit the like button, I will do a 3rd draft, and we will do that super flex that a decent amount of people in the poll did vote for. This is our 2nd puppy of the night. Let me close the poll. But yeah, if we can get to 50, I'll do a 3rd draft for sure. We have only 4 rounds left, though. I might be asking for too much. Schultz is falling. I might just take Schultz because he's a good floor play as a tight end too. It's pick 176. It's not a massive fall, but I don't really want to end up with Greg Dulcich on this team. None of the receivers are that exciting, but my receiver room is also kind of thin. Fine, fuck it. I'm not going to go Schultz. I think I'll probably wind up with Dulcich or someone like that. I think I just got to take some usable receivers before they're all just like massive dart throws. I think based on the build, it'll help me a little bit more to go tight end in the last round as opposed to round 15. But this price on Schultz is pretty decent. It's definitely not bad. I'm still mad Cardinals got Raiders and Bills play Dolphins. Yeah, that doesn't feel ideal. I would full fade Dolphins if they had an average defense week 17. He wasn't bad, just not what everyone had. Hoped he had 3-4 spike weeks last year. Good luck. Devontae Smith is the one I may have the toughest time with. 31 ADP was already a little tough for me. And then he moved. Yeah, the Devontae Smith one is definitely, I think, a little overblown. But I'll go Mooney in this round. I did pass on Neighbors for Olave, so furthering that bet. And now I have 2 clicks left. I need another receiver for sure. Could go with another rookie perhaps in Miami. Could go Devon Vele. Probably not going to do that, though. And then I will need that tight end, too. But Dulcich goes to Keen Allen. Whether he's watching or not going to let me have it. That's fine. I don't really care. We talking about AJ Brown? I think we're talking about AJ Brown here. Yeah, in this one he did go 18. It seems like that's his new. Once the run on running back goes, it's either Bowers or your favorite receiver, unless you can talk yourself into Jeremiah Love or like pulling up Travis. You know, so if that's who you like, it's just the price that it is. It's just kind of like the shitty aspect of being in the back half of round 2. You know, I don't think there's actually 12 second-round picks that all have the same value of the running backs. Like, there's just not enough running backs to go in round 2. So, it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's not much room for error. But AJ Brown can break open the game. He can be unguardable. Like, I also understand the logic for putting him that high. That's why I wanted to take him so much in the pre-draft. That's why I took him like crazy, 14% in the pre-draft. I kind of knew, like, once that trade goes down, he's probably a second-round pick. He might even be top of the second round, the 1-2 turn, if people go really ballistic. At least at the moment, he's mid-second right now. What that team looked like that took Bowers and McBride, is it this draft? I forgot now. Yeah, it definitely is this one. We'll take a look after this click. It was game tight. He has Mendoza. Is this finally my first Eli Stowers team? I think it is. I've been meaning to take him. I think it is. Yeah, the Dulcich is off the board. Yep. It's my first Eli Stowers team since the preseason. I'm calling the pre-draft the preseason. Drafted a lot more in the big and little board, but looks like we're at 44 likes. Like I mentioned, I requested 50, but like I said, that might be too much. I can probably do a third, but honestly, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. And you know what? I'm gonna stick to my word. We did not hit 50 likes, so maybe we will during the team reviews. I still have those to do, but 6 more likes if you want to lock in draft number 3. If not, I'm just gonna go to bed because I am honestly pretty tired today. June 3rd, but I have over 500 drafts done. It's fine. I'll be okay. I promise. Damn, I've done 200 Who Hames only on Underdog, but I've done a little over 200. Now the question is, do I go Malik Washington or Chris Bell for my Willis stack? Or do I take Vele? Let's have some fun. Let's go Chris Bell. Could go Caleb Douglas. But, yeah, I agree, Dean. We're going to go Bell for upside. Soup says it's at 47. I see 49 right now. I see 49. But I have noticed that I often see one less than you guys have. But no, we just hit 50. We just hit number 50. All right, there we go. We are locked in for draft number 3. And let me review my team one more time. We have an interesting quarterback room with Kyler, Tyler Shuck, and Malik Willis. Nowhere near as much ADP discounts as last one. If anything, I might have spent up at this position. We got 4, 7, and then... Yeah, I actually lost 1 pick of ADP value at the quarterback position. Different than the last one for sure. But a pretty good quarterback room given waiting until the 9th round. If you ask me, this is a pretty good way to do it on the cheap. But Derrick Henry, the bet on Josh Jacobs at 41. Hopefully he does crush, but there's definitely risk involved. Tootin, Rico Dowdle, and then Aaron Jones stacked up as the 5th. I like this room a lot, even with the Jacobs. I think with Jacobs, I want a strong group beside him, and I feel like having Aaron Jones as the fifth feels very legit. So that feels good. Hopefully Jacobs not a zero and just a good click. But Jefferson, Olave, Parker Washington, the bet against BTJ, hoping he crushes, and then just hoping that this depth really pays off. If Jefferson ever misses time, then Juwan will hit, but hopefully Addison gets hurt or something like that. Maybe Juwan Jennings has better chemistry at times with Kyler, but if Addison goes down, then this is a really, really good click. Maybe, though, I should have gotten Omar Cooper Jr., but that would have been a lot of rookies, that's for sure. Denzel Boston, though, might be ass, but for the talent at 161, I'm more willing to talk myself into it than Casey Concepcion at 115. Jeremy, fine, but also the receiver 3, a rookie with Rodgers, is not always a safe bet. Mooney, though, according to Who Hames, might be one of the best clicks on the board. Definitely set up for some targets, given they just signed Odell Beckham Jr. They need bodies that can actually run routes. I do trust Mooney more than OBJ. And then Chris Bell, the fun rookie upside swing. Injured at the moment, recovering from, I think, a torn ACL, if I'm not mistaken, and might not be ready week 1, but also might be really, really talented and fucking crush it if he comes back. But then tight end, a little risky. We have the elite option, top 5 play with Tucker Kraft, and then Eli Stowers, a major bet against all of my Dallas Goedert shares. I have a lot of Dallas Goedert. He's actually my most drafted player. In all honesty, since the draft, I don't have anyone more often than Dallas Goedert. So first time I'm taking Stowers, doesn't feel great, but what if I am wrong? All right, interesting team, has its strengths, has its weaknesses, but I feel pretty good about the starting roster every week. Like, especially if Kraft just fucking kills it. Feel pretty good about that. And then receiver, I think, is good enough. Especially if these 3 carry me in the playoff weeks, I'll be all right. And then running back has good depth. Should get a lot of flex play production at running back. Fun team. Hoping for the best. Let's take a look at some of y'all. We got Young Moolah in the house. And then we'll also take a look at A-Rod Underdogs at 11. And Soups, I already checked out your team the first time. We'll also take a look at Game Tight, and I believe that's it. We're going to take a look at Young Moolah, Game Tight, and Underdog, and then we have locked in draft number 3. It does look like we dipped down to 49, so one of y'all backed out for whatever reason. That's funny. All right, Young Moolah at 102 with a Caleb, Jalen Hurts, Shadur Sanders, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Blake Corum, Rashad White, Jonah Coleman, Dylan Sampson. Fun running back room with Gibbs. We can press our luck a little bit, but with Rashad as the 4th, the Coleman and Sampson combo, if they get on the field, if there's an injury above them, they are very fun. So good running back team, especially with Gibbs, of course, no complaints. And then Nico, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman. Ooh, interesting. Casey Concepcion, Trey Tucker, Trey Harris, and Torrey Horton. A little risky, but some high investments in rounds 2 and 3. You also have Colston Loveland, Terrence Ferguson. Muy interesante. So I might have just stopped with Caleb and Hurts. I think having an 8th receiver would feel nicer. I think that's the only thing I would change, and I think it's Shadur who I'd get rid of, not Coleman or either Jonah Coleman or Shadur. One of those two can be a receiver, and I think I prefer. But yeah, no, it did go back up right. Yeah, it did after I said that. We're up to 52 at the moment. And yes, we're doing super flex on this one. We will get to it in just a minute. But very good team, Young Moolah. Perhaps Shadur is your kryptonite, though. Game type. We got Jaden Daniels, Fernando Mendoza, Carson Beck. So very risky, but the elite option. Trusting in Daniels and then hoping for the best. Genty, Judkins, and Jalen Warren. Perfectly fine with that. Mason, Keaton Mitchell, Algier. Algier pulled up as running back 6. I don't know if I would do that. There is the big Arizona Cardinal bet, perhaps, but I don't know if I would have done that at 149. Luther Burden, Michael Wilson, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, Debo, Branch, and Fields. Doesn't have an elite play. Up top feels kind of weak. And then, yeah, this is the Bowers McBride team. So paying the price. I think if Algier is another receiver, I think I prefer this team a little bit more. I think Algier is an important decision. 8 picks above ADP. And if he was a receiver, I think I would like him more. Let me look at the board, though. I think you should have taken Omar Cooper Jr. or Juwan Jennings. I think that was the move. I think that was the correct play. Yeah, that's what I would have done differently. But fun team, game tight. I mean, the bully tight end, and it doesn't feel completely dead. Oftentimes I find those teams just like immediately dead, but I don't think it's completely dead. I just don't feel good enough about receiver. You really have to hit. And some of these guys I don't believe in. Like the Michael Wilson receiver 2 scares me quite a bit. And then it's a little... I wish there was an 8th. Let me move on. A-Rod with Lamar and T-Law. Totally legit. Also has, I think, BTJ and Brenton Strange. No stack for Lamar, though, is fine. James Cook, Chase Brown, Javonte Brooks, and James Conner. The bet on Conner. A little tough to believe in, but there is a chance. Odds are, though, he gets hurt and doesn't finish the season. I'm not clicking Conner, honestly. Tet, BTJ, Sutton, Pearsall, Travis Hunter also stacked up. Antonio Williams for the bring back, Ted Hurst, and Surratt. Surratt is stacked. My bad. Lamar does have Surratt with a stack. And then Strange, Hawkinson, Gunnar Helm. Pretty legit tight end room for how cheap it is, but not in love with Hawkinson personally. And you did reach on him. Not my favorite. You took Strange well above ADP as well. Yeah. Overspent a little bit at tight end. Good luck. Pretty well-built team, though. Receiver, a little uninspiring, but could work out. A little uninspiring, though, is my thought. All right, we are going to hop into a field general, and Disbanded's in the chat. What's up, brother? Says Blaze It SA. You know it. We'll take a hit right after we hop in. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit the drop. It's an 8-second clip. I'm going to be fully transparent with you. And when we're back from the drop, not only will I be exhaling some smoke, I'm also going to be entering into the field general. We will join the field general in 10 seconds. Insta-fill. Y'all were on it. Let's see what we get. Pick 12. Not bad in Superflex. Not bad at all. We have Game Tight in here at pick 10. Might not be too many friends and family, honestly. Might have been a very close to filling type of lobby. We got Soups in here again at pick 5. And then Sosky at the 101. I think that's all I recognize. Good luck to everyone. If you're in here, I didn't shout you out, let me know. Maybe Chubbs at the 109. And maybe D Squad might be watching. Dean got pick 6 and insta-filled in a different draft. Sneaky, sneaky. I didn't mean to be. I just thought it would hit. Thought it would work. It is Malik over Bell for me personally. A bit worried about Bell recovery timeline as a rookie, but honestly, I often take Dulcich over both. I was hoping to get Dulcich as the stack, in all honesty, but I can definitely understand the argument. I used to actually really like Malik when he was coming out of college. I did think he was pretty interesting, in all honesty. Def a gambling quarterback room. Dulcich feels like a smash, similar to Johnny Roll from 2024. I don't know about that. I think he'll be fine, but I don't know about that. I don't view him as a smash. Mooney or Fields, I said. Right. You did lump in Fields as well. They're both pretty interesting. We had Fields on the last one, Mooney on this one. J-Rock to Party, feeling pretty good with squad at the 1 slot. What do you think? My bad, I did not see you in the chat, brother. Letting me know ahead of time is definitely beneficial, but I'm at the bookend, so I can definitely take a peek after I make these 2 picks around the long turn. Def a good time to pick Stowers then. Need to have some type of contingency blanket. Yeah, at this point, I'm so committed to Goddard more than I thought I was that I think I'm going to stop taking him, and now I'll pivot to some Stowers. Because it seems like everyone seems to like him. His price might be moving up. Yeah, we did do the field general. Got to keep Peppertoni happy with the super flex. I hope he's watching. I hope he's checking the replay. I imagine he might be asleep at the moment. But our boy Herbert, unavailable. Damn. But you know what? I don't think that's the end of the world. Puka's still here. I think I'm going to go Puka for sure. Definitely taking Puka. And then the question is, do I take quarterback or do I take running back? I'm just going to go. I think the benefit of pick 12, you can definitely double tap quarterback, get some good ones, but you can also pass and still make it out okay. I'm going to risk it. Maybe y'all fucking bury me. However, I think I'm willing to play with fire and go Puka Genti here at 12-13. Sir Brooks asks, hey bro, if you're a contender, are you sending a 28-1 and a conditional 27-3 that could turn into a second if I make this the semifinals? I have Lamar, Cook, Henry, Chase, Amon-Ra, Collins, Brees, Loveland, T-Law. Honestly, I hate wrapping my mind around dynasty questions. I really just don't know. A 1 and a conditional 3rd that could turn into a 2. Sending it for what? Sending it for what? The trade is for AJ Brown. I think your receiver room is good enough, man. You have Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, and Nico Collins. I think your receiver room's good enough. Unless that's Chase Brown. But I don't think so. That sounds like too much. Soup says Bowers McBride just terrible in his opinion. It's not easy to come back from. That's for sure. Out of any player in Arizona to be fantasy relevant, I think it will be Wilson or Love. I think Jeremiah is probably the best bet. I could see Wilson being kind of worthless, though. He could go right back to completely worthless. That's definitely possible. Slayton got the 102 in the other one, so no complaints. Good for you, Slayton. Definitely a pretty good spot to be in. In this one, the 102 took Gibbs, Bo Nix, and Purdy. The 101, Sosky took Allen, Goff, and Shuck. So I'll see what happens with my quarterback options, but who knows? I tried, but got pick 12 as well. Good luck, sir. Thank you, Green Bean. Pick 12 can be tough sometimes, but Game Tight is in the Underflow 2. Dedicated Soul. Game Tight sounds like he multi-tevils whenever he tries to join. Dean also in the Underflow. Overfill. Getting the 101 in my maybe 5th ever Superflex is great. Yeah, always nice to have an Allen team in Superflex. What strain are we smoking on tonight? We're still rocking with the Yada Yada, the Black Amber. Bought 20 grams. Not close to finishing it, so that's been the strain of choice. Okay, Michael. Almost landed the Gibbs, Amon-Ra Goff trifecta, live to dream. Speaking of which, Michael, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you subscribing to send this message. Also landed the Gibbs, Amon-Ra Goff trifecta, live to dream. That's pretty sweet. 12 is my jam. Let's see how it works out. W for Omega, thanks for happening. Cheers, dogs. Had a part of my homemade coconut oil in my tea. Oh, yes, I'm in the zone. That's dope. And of course, this is the shit show. Y'all decide to leave me. Ugh, brutal. Brutal. So, maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I risked it too much, but we're gonna commit to it. I'm not gonna take 2. I'm only gonna take Malik Willis. I'm only gonna take 1. Let's see what happens on this team. Gonna have to send you a care package if you would like, but I'm not revealing my address live on the stream. Yeah, at least Willis can run. What if he's actually the player that Davis Maddock thinks he is? What if he's actually that good? I don't take him very much. I definitely don't use this approach very often. Probably should have just taken a quarterback instead of Genty. Because having Henry as our QB1 would have still been pretty interesting. But yeah, you really never know quite what you're going to get in a Superflex draft. Really a gamble every time. Every lobby is like drastically different. There's very unique builds. And I'm not the only one that passed on quarterback till the 4th round. But at least with pick 36, 37, I was a bit hopeful I could still get one. But Reef Doss said, nope, not even Baker. Bummer. Name is not Chubbs, it's Chewy, nickname for Jesus. Gotcha. Chewy BMZ 24. Appreciate you, Jesus. Thanks for letting me know. Looks like you got a bronze badge as well. You get in these streets quite often. We also have a green badge in this one. We got Ross Stradamus in here. Not sure if you're watching, Ross, but green badge. Someone can't quit. 4-hole is going to hit QB hard now. Yeah, definitely going to happen. It will be about 2-3 months for the care package, if you say so. But let's see what happens around this turn. Jacobs at 53. Breece Hall at 51. That's interesting. Yeah. It's probably not going to ship. Probably not going to take 2 months to just ship. It's coming from China on like the cheapest option possible is what's happening. Yeah, it definitely checks out. For sure. I would assume. All right, what am I going to get here? Oh, brother. Reef Daw. Be gentle. Don't take him. Don't take my guy. If he takes Rogers, thank God. At least I got Rogers. I think I'm going to take both of them. I think so. And I'll take Rogers first. But all right, I think, I mean, I'm not dead. You think so, Sladen? You think so? I sure hope so. I might have. Remember, I'm in the zone. Right. Just started flowering. You're blossoming into your full potential, Disbanded. Just started blooming. I'm gonna pack another bowl for my nightcap, because you know what, Sladen? I think I might have. I may have done it. The Malik Willis, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith in Superflex. I'm definitely taking a fourth. We'll see who it is, but I think I can get away with this. Maybe, just maybe. With Puka, Genti, Henry feels really, really strong. Let's hope for the best. We're not out of the woods yet, but you don't have an early wide receiver or tight end besides G. Will. Wilson's not going to make it back. Garrett Wilson's not making it back. I'd be shocked if that's what happened here. Heading to bed, says Hallie Line. Good luck in the rest of the draft, guys. Appreciate it. Maybe in the morning, check the replay, see how I landed the plane. Just move the cursor to, like, let's see. We're at just over 2 hours right now on the live stream. If you go to like 2 hours and 30 minutes, you'll probably see what happened. You're blooming. I have an Elden Ring joke, but the rot won't touch that green. I don't think I fully follow, like the green from like where the hobbits live. I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings guy. I've watched them. They're good movies, but I'm not like the biggest LOTR nerd out there. Okay. Coming back around, I'm not taking Brisket. I think we're just going to take one of the values here at receiver and one of the running backs. Let's see what happens. Yeah, with these teams circling around, obviously they have stronger quarterbacks, but I think I can still get away with what I have. And then obviously I have elite running backs with a true elite wide receiver one. This is a fun team. Doing that in the morning for sure. Appreciate you, Hallie. Have a good night. Sleep well. You basically stumbled into the 3 laziest quarterbacks to backstack. It's a solid path to be on. I was always falling asleep trying to watch them. Would have loved Terry here. I really would have liked to have Terry McLaurin, in all honesty. But I might just go with Adams as well. Maybe the double LA Rams. But I think first I'm going to go running back with Pollard. Definitely he's the running back I prefer the most here. And if I'm going to pull someone up, I think I'll pull him up. And then Nah, I'm not gonna bet on Adams and Puka. I'm gonna go JMO. I do prefer JMO over Evans and Adams ultimately. I trust JMO a lot. He disappears on occasion, but he is truly an elite play at times, and he can take over for sure. Also expecting a big shootout. The Lions have owned the Ben Johnson Bears last season. That's their matchup. And if Puka just completely crushes, let's say I'm in week 17 with this roster, you know, let's say I'm advanced and made it there. If Puka crushes, then maybe Adams doesn't deliver. You know, maybe Adams doesn't get in the end zone and only has like 40, 50 yards and is kind of worthless with like a 9-point game. Maybe, just maybe, the double Rams commitment is not the move. Had I had Stafford, maybe I would have done it, but nah. Sadly, my weed grinder is empty. So it does go significantly faster than when I was grinding it by hand. We'll be up in smoke very soon. I assure you. Very soon. Sladen said, get Devontae and Ty Simpson, tell a story. That's not the story I want to believe in. The Ty Simpson season? Nah, not my favorite story to tell. Yeah, the 3 QBs you landed were best you could get, in my opinion, as they play almost all year. Hopefully, we at least get Geno and Malik Willis to stay on the field. There's a chance that they do get benched, though. I wouldn't be shocked if they're like 1-13, 2-13, and the team says, why the, you know, if they're 1-10, they probably get benched. So I could see a scenario they are not available and I only have Rodgers in the final week, but maybe I'm going to be starting 4 running backs in that week and we get away with it. Maybe Rodgers against the Titans, his revenge game against Robert Saleh, you know, former coach of his on the opposing sideline. Maybe he lights it up. That's what we're going to need for sure. Coming back around on the clock, there's some running backs that are thinning out. Deshaun Watson, Michael Penix off the board. This team would be really fun if I had a Garrett Wilson on it, but I just don't think it was in the cards to pair them up there. Wilson went like 14 picks after I took Geno. I think I'm going to grab a running back here, though. Blake Corum is taken, so I'm just going to take, I think... oh, Gainwell also went off the board. Interesting. Okay. I'll take Metcalf, stack him up with Rodgers, and then... yeah, running back's about to be decimated. I will shoot for the fence. We're going Jonathan Brooks. The elite league-winning ceiling. When he wins the job from Chuba, he'll definitely be worth this pick. And this is basically where he goes even in non-superflex. So slightly above ADP, but I think a fine decision to make here. Especially, my next pick is 132. Running backs in that spot going to be much, much worse if I had to guess. So the team is coming together. Let's review so far. We have a 3-4-3-0. We have not taken a tight end yet on this one. Malik Willis, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. The best I could do, given I waited until round 4 to take my first quarterback. Genty, Derrick Henry feels elite with Tony Pollard and Jonathan Brooks. Some solid depth so far. And then receiver with the elite option, wide receiver 1, Puka Nacua, potentially the second one off the board. And then Jamison Williams and DK Metcalf is stacked up. Rodgers is definitely the player we're betting on for the sake of this team. But so far, there are some teams that kind of got boxed out of running back. Like D Squad only has Devon Achane so far. Only one running back for him. And then B Magle 45 has Scadaboo and J.K. Dobbins so far. That's not great. Game Tight at least has Hampton, but his running back 2 is Gainwell, and that's a bit of a saving grace. I would have taken Gainwell for sure had he not scooped him up. So good click there on Kenny G. Was not making it back to you. I'm going to hit the pipe. I promised it. It's about time. And I think we're going to be done with the music for the rest of the night. I think we're going to fade out on La Música. But appreciate everyone who's still watching. We still have 50 viewers. It's crazy how these late night streams seem to be going. It seems like I've found my time slot, as Mr. Goofy Chicken would say. Finding your time slot, leaning into the West Coast. Seems like this is the play. But tomorrow we're going to have Meg from Fanspeak on the channel. I tried to fix my problem on StreamYard. Remember yesterday I was showing you all the tab on StreamYard where it just wasn't operating properly? I still had that problem today. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot tomorrow, make sure that is in proper order. Don't want to drop the ball with Meg. But on Friday, we'll be drafting earlier in the morning on the Fanspeak Network channel as a guest. And then I'll probably do a stream early afternoon to follow it up after lunch. Yeah, running back got pretty decimated. I mentioned I'm not a fan of Tyrone Tracy in the same way. So getting Brooks there feels pretty solid. Somebody took Michael Pittman from me. I kind of wanted to double stack Rodgers with Metcalf and Pittman, so kind of a bummer. But we do get a nice little fall on Jordan Addison. That fits. I'm willing to take that. And then with Puka, I'm not going to be double tapping that position. If anything, I'm going to get in at tight end finally. Don't want to ignore that position. And I think the most valuable one here, the one I like the best, is Mark Andrews. I also have a bet on the Ravens with Derrick Henry. The Cincinnati Bengals last season were an extremely good matchup for two positions of note. It was tight end overwhelmingly, and it was technically quarterback as well, but also running back really benefit. Those two really, really dominated against Cincinnati. And we have both the tight end and running back versus Cincinnati in week 17 this year. Their defense may have gotten a little better in theory, but not in a way where I trust. And they did lose Trey Hendrickson. Maybe it got worse. The Bengals did not improve their defense enough, but yeah, if I was streaming, I'd be late night too. Being West Coast, it makes more sense. I'm never going to wake up as early as Chad Candles, you know, when Best Ball Breakfast, Peter Overzet goes live. I'm barely waking up sometimes, you know, like it is what it is. But when y'all are going to sleep, I'm still awake, and maybe we even get some better EV in theory against some late night drafters. Maybe some of y'all are more sleep deprived at this hour, maybe make some weird clicks. Sometimes we get some odd lobbies um, at this hour, but this is definitely our last one of the evening, and we'll see. But we'll be here, hit the pipe. We can hit it again. We can do it one more time. Okay, this team finally has its tight end one. Perhaps I'll miss out on the valuable pocket, but I think we're going to be in fine shape in that regard. I think at the very least, there's going to be one tight end I like at this next turn. And I might just take two. I might just go triple tight end because I do like that, in all honesty. So we'll see what happens. Soups still has not taken a tight end. Takes Woody Marks here as RB5. Pacheco off the board next to Jaden Higgins. Damn, taking running back here is brutal. B. Magel, 45. Definitely one of the worst clicks of the 13th round with Pacheco. Like, unless Gibbs gets hurt, definitely a tough click to make going RB in this spot. Not that they're terrible, but like I think Woody Marks is a worse click in all honesty, but compared to some of the receivers like Golden in the same round, little unfortunate. But I'm at least getting Coker and Diggs to make it back to me, so I probably do that. But Omar Cooper does stack up. That probably is the way to go. Sadiq also stacks up. Shit. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna take Sadiq on this team. I never take him. Actually, I kind of wish I took Omar Cooper Jr. first, but I definitely needed tight end first. And then I kind of just want to take Gadsden, honestly, but fuck it. I'm going to go double Jets. I'm going to take double Jets here. Yikes. But let's just believe that this is the path I need. Ugh, gross. Fucking gross. But both are first round picks. Both are very talented. The defense is not going to be too good. I really don't like the Jets argument. I'm not a believer in it, but this team needs it. Like, no doubt about it. This team needs Jets. If Geno is really the pick that carries me there, it's because I have other Jets on this team. And who knows? Maybe Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall get traded mid-season. At least the trade market for Garrett Wilson is going to be there. Maybe that happens, and maybe we get a big upgrade. But perhaps we also get a lot of defensive attention on Garrett Wilson. Maybe he gets double teamed. Maybe he's bracketed all game long. Maybe the other weapons are going to be the pieces you need. And there's significant upgrades over last season. So in the best case scenario on Geno Smith, this Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper Jr. backstack, it's affordable. It makes sense. It's fine. It's uninspiring, though. Pacheco can lose his spot to so many free agent guys or peeps like Connor who might get cut. Yeah, that's also very live to happen. Wouldn't be shocked at all if that's what, like, what if they just brought in Kareem Hunt? Like, What if it's just the exact Chiefs backfield? If Gibbs goes down, like what if that's what they bring in? But Disbanded thinks that's a good story. I mean, maybe if they didn't get the Vikings defense week 17, but I think Brian Flores is going to shut them down more likely than not when all the money is at stake. I don't think there's many Jets that can pay off against the Vikings in week 17. There's also a world where the Geno's even benched at that point, not even on the field. So uh it I'm forced into it, I have Geno. I'm forced into it, and I'm kind of relying on Geno on this team. Uh, but without Geno, I would not have made those clicks. Maybe Omar Cooper, but not above Diggs, not above Coker. I would have definitely not made those clicks had I not had Geno. And I'm also at the turn, so it's like there's no chance they circle back. I don't think Kenyon Sadiq would have made it at 180. And I know for a fact that Omar Cooper would not have made it that far either. So, uh, gotta do what I gotta do. They are on the team. Coming back around, though, I think I'm going to do the exact same thing just with Aaron Rodgers here. 100% taking Freiermuth. That's a lock as tight end 3. I need a tight end 3. They both have a 13-week bye. And typically in Superflex, I definitely build it out with 3. So Freiermuth is locked in as one of the picks. I'm going to use all 40 seconds. I'm at the turn. I'm allowed to do that. I'm going to do it. Question is, do I take running back or do I just take Jeremy? Don't expect Jeremy to circle back. All the other receivers are also kind of inspiring. Also rookies. They don't stack up. I will take Jeremy Bernard as wide receiver 6. Yeah, double Jets followed by double Pittsburgh. Like Slayton was saying, we're getting the very lazy backstacks. Stumbled into the 3 laziest quarterbacks to backstack. It's a solid path to be on. Yeah, I mean, if they are truly the best values there, if it's worth passing for Puka, Genti, and even Derrick Henry, let's go. But maybe I should have taken Hampton over Derrick Henry. Maybe I should have stayed on brand and taken Hampton. But this team is fun. This team is interesting. Definitely curious to see where it goes. We have Malik Willis, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. Running back so far, we have 4 of them with Genti, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, and Jonathan Brooks. Week 13, we're getting neither running back in our lineup. So hopefully we're just leading at that point because we just crushed this draft. And then our elite anchor wide receiver, I think, gives us the luxury to stop at 6. With Puka Nacua, we don't need that many points on the bench to worry about. But JMO definitely going to spike big time in our lineup. DK Metcalf is stacked up. Addison's also a big spike week guy. So between the 3 of them, I think I can consistently get a wide receiver 2. And there's a world where that's all I need. In Superflex, minimum you have to start at receiver is only 2. Definitely a different approach. Omar Cooper is a stack, so is Jeremy Bernard. I can probably afford a 7th. I'll probably take a 7th given I have 2 rookies here. But will I go 4 quarterbacks? Definitely. Will I go 6 running backs? Probably. And I have 4 clicks left. So 1 QB, 2 running backs, 1 receiver, a 4-6-7-3 is probably what I'm going to finish with on this team. Running backs available right now are Katron, Mike Washington, and Ray Davis. I mean, if Genti goes down, do I want the insurance policy or do I just assume that the team is trash? I'm just going to bet that Genti stays healthy and Mike Washington never is relevant. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to take Big Mike. on this one. But I don't mind a Jordan James. And if I really want, I could go with the fourth tight end and take Greg Dulcich. That's also possible. I could also go Malik Washington. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do that. I think you can take 4 tight ends in Superflex. I think you can. It's a 20-round draft, and you can also, in theory, start 3 tight ends in a given week. Now, I don't know if I want to do that, but there's going to be a big rotation between the 4. And you know what? Maybe I just stop at 3 quarterbacks. I might just say this is good enough with Malik, Rodgers, and Geno. Because if it's not, the idea that I'm going to thread the needle with the perfect, quarterback this late that fills in well, like maybe Richardson's the guy. I definitely take Richardson a decent amount. I can still get someone, so I have time to think about it. But that would mean I stop at 5 running backs, and I don't hate that, honestly. Genty, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Jonathan Brooks, and only one more. Could definitely get away with that, but I might just take 2 running backs and not have the 4th quarterback. We'll see. If Gibbs goes down, you don't even get RB1 Pacheco. They just devolve into some committee. Right. Yeah, you're not getting 30 touches a week. That's for sure. Slayton says Omar's so good. He is, but he's on the Jets team. The Jets are where players go to die. Like he is good, but he's also been poisoned. It's just unfortunate circumstances. I'd get a lot more Sadiq if Mason Taylor wasn't already there. Cooper with Geno could be great. I'm not too concerned about Mason Taylor. I think when you take Sadiq, it's kind of like taking Bowers after having McBride. You just believe in the guy's talent, and it's just definitely the direction your team plans to go in, assuming he's healthy. So I'm not really worried about Taylor, but it is a factor. I'm more so just concerned that it's the Jets and that they also have Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Both of those guys can catch a lot of passes. Plus Omar Cooper, definitely going to factor in. And even A.D. Mitchell a little bit as well. But Sadiq is dealing with a foot injury or something. He has a minor injury designation right now. I don't think he's practicing in the voluntary OTAs. But definitely some value stacks on this team. I like that the last 6 rounds, we just went double tapping the Jets, the Steelers, and the Dolphins. I think we made Slayton proud. I think I made you proud. I did not see this in the moment, but glad you approve. Superflex is entertaining wildcard every now and then, but not a fan after the early rounds. Makes me sleepy. Yeah, once you can't take quarterbacks, there's a bit of uninspiring clicks. Also, the ADP is so weird in like the first day or 2 of the contest. It's also not like the most exciting thing to be drafting them deeper into the cycle. Shit. We mentioned maybe someone, a veteran, can steal Pacheco's job. So one of these running backs is going to be Najee Harris right now. And then do I take a quarterback? Fuck it. I'm going to take a big swing and say that maybe Javonte goes down and Malik Davis is the guy you need in Dallas. We'll take a true random handcuff. And yeah, I'm just gonna commit that Willis and Geno never get benched. I got 3 quarterbacks in the chamber every single week. we're all just sleeping on them, and they're actually the three quarterbacks you need in Superflex to get it done. That's going to be the bet I make. My starting roster should be pretty elite most weeks. It's going to have the best of these three. Yeah, super elite with the best of these three. But Genty and Henry in the lineup. The Panthers starter paired with Pollard, they're going to filter in at flex. And then we have this year's wide receiver 1 with Puka. He's going to be even better than Jamar in this scenario. And then a really solid receiver room. And then 4 tight ends that are just going to thread the needle, be the perfect option you need. Every single week, we need a different one. And they're just going to hit the lineup at the most opportune time. We're going to be the only guy that threads through a Kenyan Sadiq team because he's injured and he doesn't contribute for a long time. And then week 17 against delusional Vikings fans, Vikings defense. Geno Smith is going to throw 3 touchdowns to Kenyan Sadiq and Omar Cooper, and that is the double stack you need to win the contest. That is what's going to happen on this team. We risked it. I think the quarterback room is one of the grossest I've compiled in Superflex, but I think it's worth trying. And, typically a Baker or a Tyler Shuck would have made it back to me. Had Sosky not taken Tyler Shuck at 25, I think I would have gotten out of the woods with at least Tyler Shuck. But no. Not today. Not today. It could be worse, though. I think it could definitely be worse. It's not as bad as possible. Probably a 4th quarterback is what you were thinking. Like, the Jets were better at real football with Aaron Rodgers, but he was milking the shot clock to 0-0 and murdering fantasy value. This is the best fantasy situation for Jets players. I mean, if you want to talk yourself into the Jets being in one of the best situations possible this year, be my guest, Sladen. Typically, it's not the bet I want to be making. Typically, I'm going to let somebody else fall on that landmine and sneak over somewhere else. So it's not really sneaking over. It's just like, obviously, like, if you want to be the Jets guy this year, go for it. I'm not going to do that. So in all honesty, I don't like this team very much, but it's worth the bet given how I don't normally do it this way. I don't have many Malik Willis, Geno Smith investments in general. So let's go for it. Let's do it. It's the best I could do. I was not taking McCarthy. Fuck no. Not taking McCarthy at all. Let's not talk about Zach or Fields. Geno can be garbage time. Jesus in the right situation, like Flacco. On occasion, Geno does pad the stats. His team, from an offensive standpoint, collectively might be better with Frank Reich calling the plays than it was with Chip Kelly. But typically, whenever players go to the Jets, they get worse. When they leave the Jets, they get better. Geno Smith, a perfect example of this. He got much better after he left the Jets. Now he's going back for I think he's just playing for the contract. I don't think this means much to Geno, in all honesty. But what's up, Wilson? You're making it in at the end. We got some team reviews to check out, and then we're going to be leaving. But I'm catching up with the chat before we do that. Been a Raider fan for a while, says Francis. Geno is the worst I've seen play in a while. Been going to games since 97. Was it Geno or was it just Chip Kelly? I think it was also Geno as well. Sladen thinks Geno is the best fantasy point generating quarterback in New Jersey in a decade. I mean, the bar is so low. I don't know. I'm not that inspired. It's just what I needed to do. They're scoring 0 points. I think they can drop 1 field goal, but they could definitely get blanked. Chip Kelly and a 2-cent O-line is what the Raiders gave Geno. Geno was the problem. I love this Geno argument at 11:40 p.m. Y'all are getting heated. Geno was ass everywhere he went, had 1 decent year in Seattle. Pretty fair point. One more draft Jedi. I don't think I can swing it. We're almost at midnight. I don't think so. What up, Hartman? Enjoyed your stream with Candyman earlier. Everyone, if you haven't done so already, check out Hartman. I think I may have forgotten to shout out Who Hames earlier. My bad. Check out Who Hames as well. If y'all are not subbed over there, definitely check that out. And then I think we only had Young Moolah in here. Yeah, check out Who Hames. Give him a subscription. And also check out, I think, yes, Best Ball Chosen also has a channel. Check his channel out if you haven't done so. Give him a subscription. And then our boy Young Moolah also in here. May have forgotten to mention it in the moment. Apologies if I did. I am a bit tired. I definitely am not doing a third draft tonight. But yeah, I think we're done ski Jedi. Think so. But Gino has no velocity on his throws, takes a ton of sacks. He has one good quote, and everyone has blinders on now. I'm not in the Gino camp. I I don't want this draft to paint me as the Gino guy. It's just what happened. Uh, right. It is fantasy ultimately. Garbage time. Also, we're hoping we get Blake Bortles. Is what we're hoping for. That's what we are really ultimately hoping for. But all right, I think I'm done entertaining the Gino argument. Let's take a look at some teams here before we dip out. Game tight with a 4.862 thin running back room. So high volume running back room. Sorry. Caleb, Trevor, Mendoza, and Cousins. Double Vegas. Kind of expensive. A little expensive. Maybe not too expensive, but a little reach on both. And then Caleb and T-Law, very good up top. Hampton, Gainwell with Mason, Keaton Mitchell, Bigsby, Singleton, Mike Washington, Jordan James. So a shit ton of volume, a shit ton of handcuffs. Good luck. These five could never see the field in theory. However, there's a chance you are strictly relying on these three. But Keaton probably contributes. Should have some big games. Rome, BTJ, Pierce, Naylor, Fields, and Wicks. Bowers and Loveland, so the bully tight end. Okay, yeah, that explains the receiver room. I was a bit shocked with the receiver room, but it does check out with the Bowers Loveland. Yeah, receiver a little tricky, but if you hit on Brian Thomas, Alec Pierce should be in the clear. These three, however, good luck there. I think you may have gone maybe one click overboard on running back. Starting Hampton Gainwell, probably good enough. I think you could have afforded a seventh receiver, and the receiver room maybe isn't good enough to just feel amazing about the six that you have. These three are pretty tricky, not gonna lie. So I would have liked maybe one more receiver instead of running back. Otherwise, though, like the team. We got Sosky in here at the 101. Did take Tyler Shuck at 25. This one was tough, kind of brutal. But Allen Goff Shuck, probably the best quarterback room in the lobby. Travis Swift, Harvey, JCM, Claiborne, and Ty Johnson. Kind of gets thin quickly. Some people believe in JCM and Harvey. I don't really believe in them too much. I don't think they're great picks. Above ADP on both as well. But running back gets thin sometimes, so I get it. They're not terrible, but they're not my favorite. Travis and Swift, though, should be good. These two could be true zeros. So a little risky at running back. London Burden, Parker, QJ Golden, Jawan, and Antonio Williams. Very, very complete, solid wide receiver room. And then four tight ends with Chig, Juwan Johnson, Eli Stowers, and Ferguson. I'm not the only one with a four tight end build in this one. You also pulled up Chig by 10 spots. So a few reaches on this team, but there is... Oh, you have the highly coveted Ty Johnson stack. That's your only stack with Allen. Totally fair. You don't have anyone stacked up with Jared Goff. And then Shuck is also. Oh, Shuck is with Juwan Johnson. Okay. Juwan Johnson and Travis with Shuck. So at least Shuck has some stacks. I would like to see a stack with Allen or Goff. Sometimes the ADP does not line up, but they're definitely achievable. So would have liked to see it. Did you pass on Amon-Ra? No, Amon-Ra was already off the board. That's fair. Allen doesn't need stacks, but Goff does. Definitely need Goff stacked if he's going to pay off. We're going to take a look at Chewy. Chewy's in here. Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love, and Bryce Young. Probably getting away with it. Definitely better than my trio. Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, and Baishal Tootin. Very legit trio. Manungai, Aaron Jones, and Rashad White. A very strong group of 6. Really nice. Capitalized on some good clicks there. Not bad at all. Wide receiver has Adams, Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunter's the 3rd. Yikes. Diggs is the 4th. Boston, Ridley, Tank Dell, and A.D. Mitchell. So attacking it with volume, very necessary. I mean, if Hunter hits, if Diggs hits, it's going to check out, but it is very risky for sure. And you have McBride, Barner, and Darnell. I think I would have gone maybe another. No, I think I just would have made different clicks at receiver. And I don't think I would have gone Darnell. That's a interesting bet. I mean, maybe, but I'm not in love with it. Yeah, some different clicks at receiver is my approach. But really elite running back room, you can definitely start 4 in a given week, but ideally you're only starting 3. Ideally you're still starting 2 quarterbacks. So perhaps a little too much spent at running back. Like it's really good, but receiver feels rather thin. You really needed the volume for sure. And some of these guys are really not safe bets, especially the Hunter. Like if Hunter hits, then how valuable is Jacoby as well? Yeah, but if BTJ does get traded, which feels very unlikely now, you might be in the clear. I think the receiver room might cost you. That's what I think. But otherwise, it's a pretty fun, really good team. Receiver is a bit of a weakness for sure. Wilson, no, this is going to be it. We are not going any further. But the only other team I'm going to take a look at, who I know is watching in this lobby with us, there was a lot in the overfill, is Soups. He got Mahomes, Kyler, and Fields. I mean, if Mahomes doesn't deliver, then Fields will. But it's not bad at all. In Superflex, I think that checks out, honestly. How many? 9 running backs? Holy shit. 7 receivers, only 1 tight end. Soups, what the fuck? Because I know you don't have Bowers. The fuck is going on here? Jacobs, Travion, Rico Rodriguez, Woody Tajay, Emmett, Kamara, and Katron. You just couldn't pass on the value. Soup saw the price tag on Tajay 9 spots past ADP and says, I just can't pass up this value. We're at the thrift store. I can't say no. Then Emmett Johnson fell 14 picks. He said, well, that's even more than Tajay. I can't say no to that either. Then Kamara fell 6 picks, and he doesn't think he's retiring. Says, fuck yeah, but that's not enough. We still need one more. Katron Allen fell 22 picks, and Soups is addicted, needs that 9th running back. Jacobs is going to hit, but we still need 9. Very interesting strategy, Soups. Think you went overboard. Think you got a little too Yeah, tight end is atrocious here. Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, Ted McMillan, Christian Watson, Chris Godwin, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Coker. Receivers fantastic, but tight end is the most dog shit thing you could crack up. Maybe unless Colby Parkinson. If he scores another 8 touchdowns and you're laughing to the bank, if you win with this team, that's fucking insane. But quarterback is a little bit risky, but both Chiefs and Kyler, I think, is totally fine. Running back has so much volume, it's going to hit. In theory, it's going to work out. But really, it's just these four guys. And then maybe you luck into someone starting. But you might only have these three guys for quite some time. Receiver, though, is fucking awesome. Might only be starting two of them every week, though. And then every week you're locked into Colby Parkinson. Really interesting, Soups. Not sure. Did you just auto? I think Soups might have fallen asleep. That may have, you know what? That's why you draft. That's why you draft late at night. You get someone autoing Tyjae, Emmett Johnson, Kamara, and Katron, and wind up with 9. 3 of those receivers outscore Kyler each week. Probably. I'm not going to say that out loud. Gino's a bum. The other New York bus showed it. Probably. Gino was never good at fantasy or actual football. WTF. There was no one less functional last year than the Cardinals. No one thinks Brissett is anything but terrible. And Michael Wilson and Trey won leagues. Touche, Sladen. Touche. Interesting point. Well, if that's true, this team is going to crush. One final reminder on mine. I'm going to go round by round, actually, because I think that tells the story a little bit more. Round 1, we get Puka at 12. I pull up Genty. Round 3 and 4, we miss out on Baker and the big tier break at quarterback, so I'm locked into Malik Willis, but I don't force it by reaching on the second. I also take Derrick Henry. Oh, yeah, I took him because Hampton was already off the board. Yeah, I went Henry over Walker. That was definitely why I took Henry. Then I still got Rodgers and Gino, the last two true starters. So y'all at least show me some mercy, and I'm glad I got the 3. So we just commit to the 3. I didn't take another quarterback ever again, and I grabbed Pollard, who does have a bring back with Rodgers in the 7th round. In the 8th, I took JMO, high spike week potential, definitely a valuable best ball pick. Metcalf stacks up with Rodgers, definitely the stack I feel the best about. Jonathan Brooks, elite potential. Will he stay healthy? We don't know. Addison, with a bring back, the Vikings play the Jets. We get a bring back with Addison. Almost forgot about that. Andrews, another Ravens combo. Also took Sadiq, who stacks up with Gino. But at this turn, we just decided to commit to that double team stack. I took Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr. together, and that is our bet with Gino. Then I made another bet with Rodgers. I already had Metcalf, but I go Freiermuth and Jeremy Bernard. We're locking up those points in Pittsburgh. And then Greg Dulcich and Malik Washington were the double tap. We're trusting Coolers, who does prefer Malik Washington over Chris Bell, according to him. Then I got desperate running back. The last 2 might be absolute zeros, but I already have Jonathan Brooks, so I think I needed 2, and I said fuck it on QB4. I went Najee Harris, might be signing in Green Bay theoretically, might be signing in Detroit theoretically, might be signing anywhere, and he'll be worth it. But I don't have much of him, not gonna lie. Malik Davis, I've 0 of, but I went full balls to the wall. Fuck it on this one. We go with my preferred handcuff behind Javonte Williams. I think if Javonte got hurt, I'd rather go Malik Willis off the wire than Jaden Blue. Blue could deliver, but I think Malik Davis not only showed that he was better last year, probably knows the system a little bit better, a little bit more of a veteran. He's not as fast as Jaden Blue. However, he's also lesser owned. If people are scrolling down and taking a Dallas running back, it is Jaden Blue. He was drafted in this one. So if that is wrong, very fewer percentages of teams will even have Malik Davis. I could, in theory, if I make the final, be one of the only people who has Malik Davis. And maybe if he's the Cowboy starter, I win the contest. Maybe not. Who knows? But boy, these 3 quarterbacks better fucking work. I risked it. I think I got punished, honestly. I expected a Tyler Shuck, Malik Willis team. That's what I thought I was building. But instead, we have a very unique trio in the first 3 rounds and hoping for the best. Let's see what happens. All right, that's going to be it for me. A reminder, if you are new to Underdog, you can use promo code BLUNT. Get you $50 in bonus entries, new customers, play 5, get 50. The link is in the description. Promo code BLUNT on sign up. Otherwise, though, final comments from Sladen. Paid outcome equals situation plus player skill plus luck. Never ignore outcome and skill are very far apart. Cast a wide net. Yeah, I mean, do I believe in this team? Not really. But I do think you want to have a team that covers your bases that you're not normally drafting. I'm not normally drafting a big Jets team. So if I'm dead wrong on the Jets, I want a team that can, be correct, that zigged when the rest of my team zagged. So there's only 32 teams in the NFL. Inevitably, you're going to draft one of these rosters that commits to a team you might not be the most high on just because of circumstances. So faded QB, living with it. We'll see what happens. But if Javonte goes down, Zeke unretires, and they run air raid and Dak goes for 6,000, no chance that happens. You're welcome, Sladen. I appreciated the lively debate on Geno and the Jets, and glad that we satisfied the mega stack that you were mentioning. We double tapped all 3 in those 6 picks. The Jets, the Steelers, and the Dolphins in reverse order of how I took the quarterbacks as well. All right, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you next time. Peace out. We'll hit the pipe one final time. If you would like to join, smoke it if you got it. Me and Hannah Montana here on the screen. Peace out. Goodbye.